Hey, Prime members, you can listen to Crime and Sports early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Download the app today.
In the depths of an Atlanta forest, a clash between activists and authorities ends in tragedy. I'm Matthew Scher, and on my new podcast, We Came to the Forest, we expose the hidden truths behind a shootout that left one activist dead and countless lives forever changed. Binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest ad-free on Wondery Plus.
Hey, everybody, before we get started with the show, we have a big announcement for you guys. The Shut Up and Give Me Murder Tour is coming to you. Small Town Murder live shows. These are live podcasts, just like you like to listen to, like we do from the studio, but live with you there. Right in front of you. Going to be so much fun here. April 5th, Los Angeles, California. April 7th, San Diego, California. April 14th, San Francisco, California. April 15th, Sacramento, California. April 20th, 420 in Portland, Oregon.
Oh, boy.
That's going to be insane. April 22nd, Seattle, Washington. April 26th, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. April 27th, Chicago, Illinois. And wrapping it up with April the 28th in New York City. Oh, baby. We're so excited. We can't wait. Get all your tickets and all the information over at shutupandgivememurder.com/live. Tickets will go on sale February the 16th for all these shows. Also, don't forget March 25th in Phoenix at Stand Up Live. All the links are in the show description. Come out, tell us to shut up and give you murder. Welcome to Crime and Sports. Yay, indeed. Yay, indeed. My name is James Pietragallo. I'm here with my co-host.
I am Jimmie Whisman.
Thank you, folks, so much for joining us on another action-packed, crazy adventure that is Crime and Sports.
Every week.
Every single week. Thank you guys so much.
Except for when Kyle fucks up.
Sorry, Kyle. Sorry about that, everybody, last week. Sorry about no episode. We actually recorded an episode live in Boston, and the recording was terrible. If you know anything about audio, it was all on one track. They didn't mic the audience. It was a disaster. It was basically a disaster. Sounded like us at the end of a hallway with like 12 people at the other end, rather than 300 people who were an awesome room and an awesome crowd.
It's crazy.
And we're so much fun, and really one of the best live crowds I've ever been in front of as a performer of any kind.
You guys were great.
It was absolutely insane. So what we're going to do here is we are going to do the episode that we did live now. The reason for that is, number one, it is way too good of a story to not have released. Like I would have never done it as a live episode if it was going to die in front, just with only those 300 people seeing it, because it's too good of a story. And secondly, I normally would never do this because it's like I don't want Jimmie to know shit. But we did 3 shows that day, and we did 2 shows on Friday, and Jimmie had a lot of whiskey.
Yeah, I did.
And he remembers very little of the story or any of the other stories.
Lots of beer, lots of whiskey.
Yeah. So this was our second show of the day, so it was getting good to him by then. So
I left a lot of me in Boston.
Exactly.
Even more of me in Detroit.
We both left a lot in Boston because we were poisoned by legal seafood. But that's another story. That is another story for another time.
Oh, fuck.
Definitely. Thank you guys, by the way, for all of your...
I think Tom Brady was dripping Visine into my food in the
people
kitchen.
Hated us, sons of bitches. They knew. They knew. Thank you for your iTunes reviews this week. Honestly, they're big, they're huge.
It's crazy.
And they keep this train moving along. On the business end, it helps us on the charts a ton. So if you haven't done it yet, please get on iTunes. Give us 5 stars. Doesn't matter what you say. Tell us you're following instructions, following directions. It's not for our egos. It's for iTunes, and we have to satisfy that funky algorithm.
Yeah.
We have to. It's not our choice. If you're going to go to one of our live shows that we heard about at the top of the show there, I suggest you head over to crimeandsports.threadless.com, and you can get some gear to wear to one of these live shows, or just to wear anywhere. You don't have to be going to a live show.
No.
Wear it anywhere. Also, by the way, Nashville on May the 2nd, we just added also, or May the 3rd.
May 2nd.
May 2nd. It's on shutupandgivememurder.com/live for all the live dates there.
It's going to be insane, by the way.
It's going to be crazy. So that's Crime Con is going on that week in Nashville. So all you true crime people, come to us. And we will actually put on a performance.
Yes.
We won't just stand there and say hello.
At Podcast Row going, hi, I make a podcast.
No, we'll actually perform for you and actually do a show. And it'll be a good time.
I'm telling you, these live shows are
they're ridiculous.
They're incredible.
Guys. They're
really fun.
They're the show that we're doing now, except live, which gives it the level of energy and the level of excitement and the laughs, and it's just so great.
It's so fun.
It's so terrific. Also, too, you want to help out the show a little more, like our long list of producers that we have for later.
Oh, my God, it's so long.
Who are our favorite damn people in the world. You can do that by going over to patreon.com/crimeinsports or go over to PayPal, and you can make a one-time donation using our email address, which is crimeinsports@gmail.com.
That's the one.
And we have a crazy-ass story today. This is one of the wilder stories. This is one of those stories that from start to finish, because some of them it's like they have a crazy beginning and then they calm down a little bit and nothing else interesting happens. Or once in a while you'll get like the crazy from start to finish where the end of their life is nuts too, like a Spinner Spencer or like a couple of guys, Valero.
Or a shocking one where they fucking roll their truck on the expressway.
Where their truck lands on top of them. Things like that. Or we have they just like, and then they haven't really done anything for like a few years. We have that. This story is just this is like you don't even believe it's true when you read this story and when you read about it, you're like, this guy didn't exist. This is a movie character. This is ridiculous. And it's so much fun. So let's get right into it because it's wild.
Well, let's quick update that Ray Carruth. Ray Carruth is trying to get goddamn custody of Puddinghead.
You turned him into a pudding child and now you want him?
Now you want to raise him?
No.
He's already raised. Let him be.
He is fine. Leave that kid alone.
Oh, Jesus.
You don't get to shoot at someone and then get custody of them. That's not okay.
No.
Or hire someone to shoot at. You don't get to do any of that. So Ray Carruth, episode 1. That is, if you want to go back.
Very first.
If you want to go back and listen to us try to figure out how to do a podcast. We didn't know what we were doing, but I think it was still pretty funny.
I wish we would have saved him for later, but it was a great one.
There's a few I wish. That's the other thing, too. And you tweeted us your opinion on this. I've thought about this because back then I tried to keep it under 45 minutes. That was like, let's do this so people can listen during a lunch break. Like, try to do that. And
let's not bog them down with us.
There's so much more to a lot of those stories, like our first 15, 20 stories. There's so much more. So there's a couple of them. If you guys would like to hear them in long form and like a redo, let us know about that because we might do that as like a bonus or something.
We could do Ray Carruth live.
We could do Ray Carruth or Lawrence Phillips or Jason Williams.
Some we didn't know about and do all that shit live. That'd be so much fun.
But let's get into this crazy person for the week because it's crazy, crazy, crazy time. It is Thomas Edward or Wayne.
There has two middle names?
There is multiple sources, and all of them have one or the other, so I have no idea.
None of them have both, though.
So we're going to call him Thomas Edward Wayne Henderson, because we have no idea what the hell his middle name is. Who knows?
All right.
So it's Thomas something Henderson.
Got it.
Better known as Hollywood Henderson.
Got it.
The NFL player.
Right.
This is Hollywood. It's not exactly vampire gigolo or gorilla pimp, but
we'll
take it. We'll take it. We'll take it. It's better than some of the shit we've encountered, so it's fine. Yes, Thomas Henderson here. Hollywood, though. That's a good nickname.
It's pretty solid.
It's Hollywood Henderson
like
right there. And this guy, God damn it, what an entertainer he is.
All right.
He did it his whole life, and then he keeps giving because now we can do this to him too. Born March 1st, 1953, down in Austin, Texas. Grows up in East Austin, Texas, which apparently back then in the 50s and 60s was a really shitty neighborhood. Terrible. Austin now seems to be
classy.
Pretty much all gentrified. Like even houses where you're like, ooh, this looks like a bad neighborhood. It's like, no. Actually, these houses are $700,000. Actually, it's like it's like L.A. Where that's what Austin feels like. Where you're like, what? But that's like a 1,200 square foot lot with an 800 square foot house on it. They're like, 1.25 million. Yeah, that's what. What?
That seems accurate. That seems right. That seems completely affordable.
But back then, apparently, Austin was not. South by Southwest hadn't made it down there yet.
South by Southwest hadn't fixed everything and reset everything.
The arts hadn't really reached there yet. No. It's a shit neighborhood. So bad. His friends as a child. In addition, he had like normal friends he played sports with, but. He befriended, quote, street corner prostitutes and shot dice with homeless men and frequented, wow, I can't make this up. This is what I mean. Everything in this story is like, I wish I couldn't have made this up better. Right. He frequented a market known as Greasy Dick's.
Oh, boy.
Greasy Dick's Market, where he shot dice with homeless people and befriended street corner prostitutes.
That's exactly where you find prostitutes, though.
That's the funny thing is that sounds like exactly what you do at a place called Greasy Dick's. Jesus. And then he snuck into a pool hall all the time where he learned to hustle pool games. Because he is a hustler, this guy, and he hustles everything. He hustles everybody. Grows up very poor, and I love his descriptions of everything are fantastic. Yeah. He's a talker, and he's a well that never dries up.
Perfect.
For quotes, which is our favorite when we get a guy who we barely have to tell the story. Just let him quote things.
Let him tell the story because he's going to do it much better.
Yeah, we'll hear how crazy he is. Yeah. We'll hear everything about him in that. He describes his childhood as, quote, "My family was very, very, very poor, like no toilet paper poor." You can't. That's as well as you can describe poor right there. That's a picture.
That's a lot of varies.
Yeah, you picture just shitty hands is a pretty fucking obvious. That's a picture. That paints it's worth 1,000 words. We'll say that one picture.
I hope you washed up for supper, sir.
Like no toilet paper poor.
That's crazy.
Those 4 words paint a picture. You don't need 1,000 for that one. You can paint a picture in very little time. Now he grows up in a shit household. His mother and his stepfather are constantly fighting. Always fighting. Just always physical fights, verbal fights. And then he witnesses. This will teach you to take no shit anyway. Sure. He witnesses they lived at 17th Street and Chicon Road, I guess. And his mother on the front porch, mind you, of their home. Now, this isn't behind closed doors.
Right.
This is everybody watch on the front porch. She shot his stepfather in the side with a .22 rifle on the front porch.
Let's go outside and talk.
Yeah, exactly.
And shot him out there.
Yeah. Said, hold on a second now.
That's a Texas divorce. I like it.
Or a Mississippi marriage, as we've said before. That's fucking great.
That's fantastic.
Unbelievable, man. That's like, I just got new drywall. We're going outside. Click, clack. Let's go. Holy shit.
I just refinished the living room. We will not have this argument in here.
Just repainted, and I'm a lousy shot. So on the porch, motherfucker. Now. Let's do this. So. That gave him.
Did we find out what it was over?
Oh, just a regular fight.
Just he didn't take out the trash. Let's chat.
He's abusive. She had enough. And so she shot him.
There you go.
So that's what happens. Stop being an abusive asshole. You won't get shot on your front steps, I guess.
I like it.
He credits, he's a football player, by the way, people out there, NFL player from the 70s, one of the most entertaining times of any sports era. And this guy was like one of the most entertaining guys. Like, we will post a ton of pictures from this because from the live show, I have so many pictures of crazy shit that this guy did. So we'll post a lot of pictures, and you can kind of follow along with the pictures.
Get a real feel of what this guy did.
As a matter of fact, I will post the pictures in order of the story.
Terrific.
Like we did for the live show. So if you want, you can like click through a Twitter post or a Facebook post
as
and
you
click
listen.
through all the pictures as you listen. So that'll be kind of cool, actually. So anyway, that's a huge pain in the ass, but I think I'm going to do it anyway. I will do it. I will do it. Or I'll make Sarah do it.
There
One of the
go.
two. She might end up doing it, but someone's going to fucking do it.
Right.
He is convinced that there was a big hill next to his house, like a big sloping hill, and him and his friends would sprint up and down, back and forth over and over again. And he says that the constant running up this hill is what strengthens his legs to be a professional football player.
Yeah.
Which, that's a pretty good base for exercise.
You're running stadium suicides, fuckface.
That and genetics also, because there's a lot of people that could do that for 10 years and they'd still be skinny shits and they wouldn't have any strength in anywhere. But they'd have good cardio.
You bet.
But he was strong. He begins drinking and doing drugs in junior high.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's the kind of story we have here. Yeah. And it escalates from here. We'll put it that way. It's he doesn't like kind of just level out.
No.
This is just a decade and a half of escalation. It's fucking amazing. So this is like 1967. He's doing drugs and he goes to Anderson High. in Austin. It's just L.C. Anderson High School. He plays for the B team in his freshman year. He plays a little bit in his sophomore year, but then things at home are so bad. Mom shooting dad out on the porch and things like that. That's an unstable environment.
That'll take your that'll take your mind off the playbook for a week or two.
And your book. So why don't you have your homework? Right. Well, I had to fill out a police report because my mom shot my stepdad on the front steps of her house.
Cleaning the rifle.
Yeah, I had to clean the rifle afterwards. He comes in like Henry Hill. She comes in, gave me a gun to hide. So, bloody gun-handed. So they're all doing that. He's getting drunk. He ends up moving to Oklahoma City to live with his grandmother because she's a little bit more stable. She hasn't shot anybody recently, so it's a good place to live. So he plays for Douglas High in Oklahoma, where he, as a senior, he earns all-city honors playing defensive end. Yeah. He's not recruited much by other colleges because he didn't play a lot because he had to take a year off with the transfer.
Right.
So basically, he just got to play his senior year. So colleges, it's a small high school, and colleges didn't get to see him that much.
Maybe they heard, maybe he might be a smidge damaged on account his mom shot his dad.
Yeah, no shit. But then again, back then, that's just kind of that's sort of just country. You know what I mean? That's normal. I feel like that just happens sometimes. Yeah. Well, there's guns around a lot, obviously, so this is what happens here. So anyway, so he's all city there, the whole deal. A lot. Also, by now he's already even shot up heroin. Really? He's already tried heroin. That's how deep he's gotten into this by high school. By 1969, he does that. He's also a hard worker, too. Yeah. Like, he works hard in football. He gets a job in his senior year. He's playing football. Yeah. He gets a job. Even later on when he's in college, he'll go and work in offshore oil rigs off Louisiana for the summer and shit like that. Like, you don't see a lot of, college athletes, major college athletes working the oil rigs in the offseason anymore.
You telling me Manziel didn't go down and work
it's
an
odd,
oil
right?
rig?
You don't think a guy's like, I'm sorry, guy. They interview him after the Rose Bowl. He's like, man, this is a great victory for myself, my team, my community, all the alumni. I'd like to thank everybody for the support, but I really got to get going because I got to catch a Greyhound down to the Mississippi Delta because I got an oil rig to be on at 5 a.m. Thanks a lot, guys. Have a good one.
I really want to thank BP for giving me a job.
Guys. That doesn't happen often, usually. So, not to him, but to him, he did it.
That's great.
He says he smoked pot a lot in high school. Yeah. Later on, he'll say that, he also shot up heroin and things like that. But when he came out, he said he smoked pot, and then he goes to Langston College. Okay. Langston College is a small black college. Yeah. People who went there, other athletes. One other guy that I knew is the person I'm so aware of because he's the only black guy named Chad. Okay. Chad Johnson. When we said there's no black guys named Chad. And
boy, are there.
My whole Twitter feed was filled with pictures of Chad Johnson. We're like, thanks. Yes, him. Okay.
All right, we got it.
You get my point. He's the only one. So, fine. I literally had a lady send me a picture of her cousin who was a black guy named Chad.
Really?
She was like, this is my cousin. His name's Chad. I'm like, I don't fucking know him. There's no way I can know him.
And then Pimp C also from UGK.
I can't. Oh, there you go.
I mean, it's hard to dig that one out when he doesn't even go by Chad.
No, and I can't count her cousin in the census. Right. I don't know this person. Is he famous? How the hell am I supposed to know him?
Am I supposed to look up the phone book and then cross-reference Facebook and look up?
Okay, there he is. All right.
If I put in the search on Facebook, blacks named Chad, am I now on a list somewhere for like KKK members?
Yeah, probably. If I ever have like some kind of brain damage and decide to rap it all, my rap name is going to be Black Chad with 100% Black Chad. Because I am neither black nor Chad. So I think that would be perfect for me.
That's amazing.
Now, he talks about at this point, he would sell a little weed at college for pocket money. Well, I mean, what are you going to do? You can't work on the rigs while you're playing football. He said,
there's no oil rigs on the 50-yard line.
Not at all. And let's get it in their own words on this, what he says about this whole thing. In their own words, quote, "We'd go over to Stillwater to get the pot." Which I love. It sounds like, hey, we got the pot, see? Smoking jazz cigarettes around the corner. Everybody come on. Quote, "A lot of guys supplemented their incomes by selling. The big thing at Langston was drinking wine, smoking pot, and occasional acid trips." Yeah. So that sounds great. Yeah. Sounds great. Yeah. I want to go to Langston College.
Sounds awesome.
I am signing up for black college, everybody. I'm going to a black college.
I didn't know that acid was popular with black guys. I didn't know.
1971.
That was popular with everybody.
Everybody. And in the early 70s.
That crossed racial lines in a second.
Yeah, even Oklahoma. Even Oklahoma, they were
I mean, that's if
we don't smoke marijuana. We do acid, though. That's the other thing.
If there's anywhere that needs it, it's
Oklahoma. Yeah, you guys need some imagination. Yeah. Take some acid. So he graduates college. Yeah. Or graduates high school before even going to college. He graduates high school and immediately joins the Air Force.
Oh boy!
Because he wants to go out and
be tough.
Yeah. And quits before he's sworn in. Decides rather than Vietnam, I'm going to go to college. How's that sound? Yeah, I think I'll go there.
Quits before signed in, sworn in.
Sworn in.
That's
He's
amazing.
like, change my mind. Yeah. Yep, going to college instead.
How about no?
Yeah, no. So, like I said, he's at Langston College. He's a walk-on there. Mm-hmm. Langston is an NAIA university, which is like the lower tier, Division III shit heap. They play in like a parking lot with broken glass on the ground.
Yeah.
Don't fall, anybody. Yeah. Everybody, don't tackle, please.
Right.
If you just push them out of bounds.
Two-hand and push.
There's big pebbles. We didn't have time to sweep it.
Very sharp pebbles around here.
Broken glass. Right. But we had a homeless fight right before the game, and we didn't get a chance to clean it.
We don't have time to run a street sweeper.
Sorry. So his personality here, he's a very crazy guy.
Yeah.
His teammates call him the wild man.
Yeah.
But he's also a badass because he's playing in a small college, and athletically, he's well above a small college pace.
Yeah.
He is a two-time small college All-American at defensive end. As a senior, he named Southwest District Defensive Player of the Year.
Wow.
And he also did track and field.
Jesus.
So not too shabby.
Yeah.
He's this is while he's selling weed. He's doing acid, drinking wine, having a good time, but he's still so athletically gifted that it doesn't matter. He's doing all this shit.
Everything and be dominant in all of it.
Totally.
Yeah.
He calls himself in college the mouth of the South, which I'm sorry. You might have a big mouth, but you are not Jimmie Hart, sir, and I apologize for that. Man, that was the best, by the way. During the live show, I got to put up a picture. This is the mouth of the South, and that was probably the loudest cheer of the night, oddly enough, from a bunch of like college girls and shit like that who I wouldn't think knew who Jimmie Hart was.
A couple girls that were proclaiming themselves the Jews of the room.
Oh, I love the Jews. Hi, Jews from Boston. We love you guys. So anyway, he's the mouth of the South here. He's the Southwest District Player of the Year.
Right.
And even though he goes to a small university, his athleticism puts him on the map of some NFL teams for the draft. And they're looking to draft him. But he's the type of guy they don't know when he's going to go because he's a small college guy. They're going to take all the big guys first. He might drift into the second or third round, they're thinking. Now, 1975 NFL draft is when he comes out. This is funny just to see the names and the people on it. And 75 is another time.
Yeah.
That's 40 years ago.
I was not born yet.
Me neither.
Crazy.
That is 40 years ago.
Right.
It's so fucking long ago. More than that. It's 43 years ago at this point. 43 years and 3
nuts.
weeks. Can you imagine
My mom
that?
was 15 years old.
That's crazy.
My mom
dude.
couldn't even drive a car legally.
Think about that.
That's bananas.
That's crazy. Yeah. My dad was in high school. And
so weird.
That's so weird. It's very, very odd. But this is January 28th, 1975 at the Hilton at the Rockefeller Center in New York City.
You bet.
So we're doing down there, I guess it's Rockefeller Center, You can see a tree and the draft back then. This was the old school draft. This isn't now. If you watch the draft now, it's a production. There's fans there. There's like seating and there's lights and things.
The
and
players are sitting in chairs with their families.
Music comes up and people. There's 1,800 cameras. Back then, like if you watch the From Elway to Marino 30 for 30, where they show a lot of the NFL draft, and it was just a bunch of guys with football helmets sitting on their desk, and they'd write down who they want on a piece of paper and give it to the commissioner, and then they'd read it. That was literally the draft.
Wow.
This was even before that.
Jesus.
This was like a bunch of guys sitting around a smoky conference room going, I'll take that kid from Oklahoma. Yeah, right. And taking a cigar out of his mouth.
Right.
All right, hell, you got him. I got this one. I'll take the black one from Texas. Like, that's what it was back then.
And it went fast.
They didn't care because they had 17 rounds, too, back then. They would stock half a goddamn football team and probably cut a shitload of them.
There was no clock because they didn't need it.
No, it was they knew they were,
Right.
So this is then totally different deal. 17-round draft. Now it's 7. Number 1 overall pick. Guess?
No.
Steve Bartkowski.
I don't know who he is.
Bartkowski. Sorry, not Bartkowski.
I don't know who
Bartkowski.
that is.
Steve Bartkowski is a quarterback for the Atlanta Falcons.
Oh, all right.
Who was not very good.
No.
As you imagine, all those great Super Bowl winning late 70s Falcons teams that you've heard so much about, those legendary teams. No, they don't. That didn't happen.
They don't exist.
And they don't exist, and neither does this guy.
Gotcha.
He exists.
Right.
But
just not in the NFL anymore.
Not in the NFL anymore at all. Bartkowski wasn't exactly the next. not exactly Dan Marino or Roger Staubach or
not even Matty Ice.
Not even. Actually, yeah, he's more like a Bobby Hebert.
Right.
We'll call him the Saints quarterback from the 80s, or Chris Miller, one of those shitty Falcon quarterbacks. Christ. Chris Chandler. He actually took him to a Super Bowl, but Chris Miller, that's another story. He did suck bad. Actually, when they came out, I read an interview with Bartkowski over this. I'm looking way too deep into this stupid shit, but in an interview, he said it never was going to happen for me. They pegged me out of college as the next Joe Namath, and from then on, I was a dead man.
He said that?
That was all the tout. Everybody touted him as, you better take him. He's the next Namath.
Wow.
And he said that was too much pressure, and it didn't work out the way he thought it was going to.
Who would want to be compared to anybody great? I mean, unless you're...
Yeah, I guess you do. You want people to say he's but I mean, that's a lot of pressure.
I'll bet LeBron doesn't even like it.
I can't even. I could picture him if you said he's the next Jordan. He was like, "That's right, motherfucker." I'm the next. He called himself King fucking James.
Yeah.
This guy didn't call himself
23 because of it.
He didn't call himself King Bartkowski.
Yeah,
that's
a point.
He just wanted to be a quarterback.
But I really don't think LeBron likes being compared to Jordan. They don't even play the same position.
No.
They're completely different players.
No, they're not the same. You can't compare him to him.
You can't compare that.
No, they're different guys.
The closest you've got is Kobe, and Kobe's not as good as Jordan.
You can't compare. That's why that was bad when they try to compare Magic and Jordan. It was
like, dumb.
One's a point guard.
Right.
So that's kind of a stupid
ridiculous.
comparison. Yeah, they play different games.
Right.
Number 2 overall is Randy White, who's a badass defensive end for or defensive tackle for the Cowboys.
Okay.
And we'll talk about him later on. He'll come up. Number 4 overall, Walter Payton.
Oh, my God, the Falcons fucked up.
Greatest offensive player in the history of football. Played for 15 years, missed like one game. The most consistent, greatest player ever. They said, no, we want Bartkowski. We'll take a Polish quarterback, thanks. They're always the best. Look at all the successful quarterback. Polak. That's what you want.
Not just like that Walter Payton's the best running back, the best offensive player ever. It's that he, by all accounts, one of the most amazing men.
One of the greatest people ever.
He's got the fucking Man of the Year award named after him.
That's what I mean. And sharp and smart. This is how smart Walter Payton is.
And they think, Bartkowski, please.
This is how smart Walter Payton is, okay? Yeah. Doing research, I came across this story. For one of our wrestling episodes, the story came up. Walter Payton did a thing with WWE in the 90s, right? Yeah. A little thing where he was in somebody's corner, and he was supposed to, shove somebody or some shit, whatever, right?
Grab a foot.
Apparently, the wrestlers have been planning this what's going to happen in this thing. It's a big angle, and they were planning it for a couple days, going over it. They went over it a million times. Right. Walter Payton comes in the locker room. He hears it once in passing, and then they're going over it again, and the wrestlers fuck something up, and he goes, oh, no, that part's this, that, and this. And they went, he's fucking right. He's right.
How did he know that?
He heard it once, and that's how amazing he is at remembering,
Charlie.
Plays and shit like that. That makes you the greatest offensive player.
That's why he's so good.
But they were all just like, holy shit. And like wrestlers hate it. They're like comedians. They're not impressed with anybody. They're like, fuck you.
Yeah.
And they loved him. They're like,
that's
amazing.
This
guy's incredible. What a man. So anyway, you could have had Walter Payton. Instead, you had a Polish quarterback. Good job, assholes. Might as well have picked an Italian quarterback. The only thing that would have been worse. We don't quarterback well.
No.
We just claim Dan Marino and move on. No, his dad's half Italian. He's Italian. It's fine.
There's an O at the end of his name. He
has an O. And
clearly eye-tie.
He tans up real nice. You see him tan up, he doesn't burn. He's Italian.
See him in the Miami sun. He's so brown.
Right there. You're claiming you're Italian right there. Well, there's light Italians. My mother's pretty light, but still, I'm like, let's see you out in the sun for 15 fucking minutes. You're turning red? No? Yes? You're not? Fuck you. No. Because I can stand out there and get brown.
There's a bit curly for an Italian guy.
Shit. So, also, let's see, who else went here? Russ Francis, who's a tight end, who later on, he's kind of a famous guy, played with San Francisco. He also went on to be a wrestler for a little while, as a matter of fact. And finally, number 18 overall, the Dallas Cowboys select Mr. Thomas, not even Hollywood yet. Mouth of the South, wild man, Henderson, out of Langston.
Hilarious.
And it's all big colleges pretty much, and then him out of Langston. So people were surprised.
Yeah.
Like, there was the scouts are looking through their books who the fuck is this guy?
This one?
What? Who? Langston?
Right.
The hell is that?
What college is that?
What is that, a Mexican? A black school? I thought of Jesus, I never even heard of it. God damn. So they end up taking him first round. So, I mean, not bad. There's a bunch of Hall of Famers in that draft. Yeah. So, I mean, it's a decent draft, basically. Sure. 1975 season. Yeah. He plays for Dallas. Yeah. Dallas, it's his rookie year. He's very brash, by the way, that year. Now, Tom Landry's the coach. If you've ever seen Tom Landry, he is the silverest of the silver-haired middle-aged white men. He's in a suit and tie with a fedora on. Yeah. He looks like Joe Friday. Okay. Like, he looks like he's come to take your statement in the 1950s. He's come to check to make sure you're not a communist, is what it looks like. Like, he's like a total, like, FBI man. Perfect. Or G-man from the 50s, like the guy in charge of the unit, basically. And he's going to be in charge of this fucking lunatic who's shooting heroin and selling weed and acting like a crazy person and calling himself the mouth of the South. So as you can imagine, there's going to be some interesting things going on here. And especially because Dallas misses the playoffs for the first time in 8 years. The year before that. Yeah. So they're coming into, like, there's a lot of pressure in 75. They're like,
better
listen,
be good.
Yeah, we were going to Super Bowls and we were really good, and now we just missed the playoffs. Right. So a lot of pressure. Now the Cowboys, Landry had no clue what to do with this guy. Yeah. He's like, what the shit do I do with this guy? But it's the 70s, and there's a lot of guys kind of around. It's becoming more like guys are more freewheeling. Look at clips from the 70s. Guys have big afros sticking out of their helmets, and they're not just taking shit anymore. They're not. They're starting to say, I'm going to have personality while I play, and there's nothing you can do about it, basically. And they also realize that gets them money. Yeah. That gets them endorsements. It gets you noticed, and it still does to this day. Right. You can be a mediocre player in any sport, and if you're brash enough, you'll be on commercials. Yeah. I mean, Jesus Christ. Joe Green? Fuck, he was great. He's a Hall of Famer. Johnny Manziel was on commercials.
That's a good point. Yeah.
Like, he did nothing. Right. He just had a big mouth and was famous. That's it. So, I mean,
had arrogance and cockiness, and that shit sells.
It sells. It really does. People find it entertaining, if nothing else. Here.
There's got to be a villain, and the villain gets paid too.
That's the thing.
And sometimes the villain gets more than the hero.
Because the villain is why you want the hero.
Right.
That's the thing.
Why it's happening.
If there is no villain, there is no hero. No. If there's no Joker, Batman's just walking around and people are going, "Hey, Batman!" He's like, "What's up, dude?" And like that's the shit movie. Right. It's boring.
You gotta have bad guys.
He can show you around his car for 10 minutes and be like, "This is pretty cool. I built this cave," and everyone.
But
will be
why'd you
impressed
build
with
all
that.
this? Why, to fight crime? Well, we don't have any crime.
Really have any crime.
It's it's pretty safe around here.
My car got broken into like last year, but I don't know if you really want to send It's not really a Batman problem.
It's not really a Batman thing. It was an iPod. Right. Nobody gives a shit.
I got insurance. It was like $200 to fix the window, and it was fine. I mean, that was all there was. Just a deductible, really. It was no big deal. It wasn't really a Batman issue. Right. So we don't really have bat problems at this point. If we can, we'll get back to you when we get bat problems. Our issues now do not require a superhero's intervention.
There's just no villain.
You can leave the utility belt home, is what I'm telling you. We don't need it. The car, you can take an Uber. It's fine. Like, it's not a big deal. Just get there when it's over. So he says, Hollywood here, or Thomas at this point. Yeah. Thomas? Yeah. Thomas says his older black teammates warned him that his lack of discipline, his independent streak, all of this shit would cause a lot of trouble with the team's, quote, white power structure. What? The ownership and all that. Yeah.
White
power. Yeah, not white power structure. Like there's the power structure who happens to be white of the Dallas Cowboys. That's a better way to put it. He put it a different way. Yeah. He says that he honestly had no fucking clue what they were talking about.
Really?
He did not. He said he didn't even think of racism as a thing.
You don't understand that you're kind of owned by white people right now?
No, he didn't even think about it. He said he grew up in an all-black neighborhood. Yeah. He attended an all-black college, went to all-black high school, and this was after the civil rights and all that stuff. Mm-hmm. So for him, he said he was completely insulated from racism. He said there was never any white people to be racist against him. He never thought like, hey, we live in a shit neighborhood for a reason. Yeah. He never thought that part, but there wasn't a white guy going, hey, fucking N-word, blah, blah, blah. Like that didn't happen to him.
It was just all black people kept into a little fucking town, bro.
He didn't realize that,
He doesn't realize that's
kid,
racist.
You just think, well, that's how everybody lives. You don't even know how people live.
The system keeps you down, brother.
He realizes that later, but now he just says that he said he never once in his entire life before this point encountered overt racism. Wow. Never saw it. There was never any white people.
I guess that's the point. Plus, this is like magnified too. So, like, if you don't realize that it exists, and then you see it on such a magnified scale,
like, whoa!
Then
and
you're
they're
like,
telling
what
you, everyone's
fuck
warning
is this?
you,
right?
Yeah. For him, it was like Richard Pryor talking about Africa, where it was like, no one called me the N-word once there. You know, it was like that's all there was. You know, that was his whole joke.
That's hilarious.
That was the thing. So he didn't know. We have, and in their own words about this whole thing here, in their own words, quote, It never occurred to me to be afraid of Landry. I was cavalier. I told him dirty jokes. He'd walk by and I'd go, "What's up, Tom?" I didn't know my place. Independent, spirited, new black man. You gotta understand, Landry came out of the NFL of the 1950s. The racism, black guys sort of knowing their place. I spoke to him like a man instead of a fearful, subservient position. Wow. So, yeah, he's just not
just being him.
He's like, "Hey, what's up, Tom? How's it going?" Where it's like all the other guys, like, you call him, "What the fuck you doing, man?"
You call him Mr. Landry.
Call him Mr. Landry. Call him Coach. Like, you don't call him, "Hey, what's up, Tom?"
Call him sir.
Tell him a dirty joke. Right. Tell him a joke where the punchline is something filthy.
Right.
I wanted to say something, and I was like, "That's too filthy." And I backed it up, and I was like, "That's not filthy enough."
Right.
And I was like, "Fuck it, I'm going to abandon this whole thing."
I feel like pussy was in there.
No, the first one was funnier, but it was really dirty. So I'm not even going to get into it. It was good. And I'm like, no, I can't say that. That's filthy. That. God damn it. There's ladies listening to this. They don't want to hear that shit.
A few miles from the glass spires of Midtown Atlanta lies the South River Forest. In 2021 and 2022, the woods became a home to activists from all over the country who gathered to stop the nearby construction of a massive new police training facility, nicknamed Cop City.
At approximately 9 o'clock this morning, as law enforcement was moving through various sectors of the property, an individual, without warning, shot a Georgia State Patrol trooper.
This is We Came to the Forest, a story about resistance.
The abolitionist mission isn't done until every prison is empty and shut down.
Love and fellowship.
It was probably the happiest I've ever been in my life.
And the lengths we'll go to protect the things we hold closest to our hearts. Follow We Came to the Forest on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can binge all episodes of We Came to the Forest early and ad-free right now by joining Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this White Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And now back to the show.
Basically, at this point, he's trying to be himself and ignore the rules. Mm-hmm. You had to shave. You're not allowed to have a beard on the Cowboys. Like the Yankees, you can't have a beard.
The Cowboys didn't allow that?
Back then, no beards.
Okay.
This was coming from the 50s and 60s. And in the 70s, beards were kind of a thing.
Yeah.
And it was kind of a thing for like, hey, man, this is my look. Like, I get this shit all slicked up, and this is what the ladies like.
I put oil in this. I spent money on this beard.
Ladies like old TH's beard, you know what I'm saying? So we're going to have a talk here.
The ladies' thighs tickle when I got this.
Yeah, you know how that is. Right. I like to hear him giggle. I like to hear him giggle when I give him a tickle. So what he does is he gets a doctor's note to be able to keep his beard.
Because?
So Landry lets him keep his beard for medical reasons because his doctor said that he had such aggressive ingrown hairs that he couldn't shave at all. Just couldn't shave.
I mean, I feel you. I've got them too. But
his whole face would turn into a giant staph infection and he'd die. One shave. Done. So, yeah.
I mean, you could trim it down and just have stubble.
Nope, not going to happen. Need the beard. It's for my skin condition. So, Landry...
Was he Black Samson with a beard?
Yeah,
it's ridiculous.
Landry could have told him to, fuck you, but he was like, all right, we'll let this one slide. It was like, I'll choose my battles here with this guy.
He went to the lengths of getting a fucking doctor's note.
Yeah, the guy really...
he really likes his beard.
He prepared.
Right.
Let's see what was here. So, he lets it slide, and he lets other things slide, Landry does about Henderson. Like, Henderson does some things on the field that are very brash and not what people do back then. He scores a touchdown on a kickoff return in his rookie year in 75, which is a big deal. as he returns it, it's an 80-yard return, too.
Yeah.
So that's a long way to run, 80 yards with all those pads on.
And being as big as he is.
And being a big dude. He's 220. You know, he's 6'2". He's 220. He's a big guy. He then slam dunks the football over the goalpost.
Oh, okay.
Which you've seen a ton of times happen, and Jimmy Graham ruined it for everybody in 2014.
Got it.
But back then, that had never been done before. Guys got in the end zone.
Very first one.
This is the first one. Back then, that's when spiking first started.
Yeah.
That's like when it first started. Back then, guys used to just get in the end zone and flip the ball to the ref.
Right.
That's what they did. That was their celebration. Then they do a dance sometimes, but the ball was never involved in it, really. And then they started spiking it. That became a big deal.
Right.
But he dunked it over the...
That's unbelievable.
The athleticism
After
in that.
80 yards.
80 yards, weighed down by pads, you can still get up to dunk, and you're not 6'7", 6'8". That's pretty impressive.
Yeah.
But Landry didn't discipline him for that. It was fine.
Yeah.
It pumped the team up. The team liked it. They
Yeah.
thought that was great. So he was like, all right, well, you know what? Everybody's happy about it. He did score an 80-yard touchdown. I'm not going to...
He put points on the board on a kickoff.
This isn't the fight to have, basically. This isn't the thing at all. But... Henderson still, no matter what, couldn't stand the whole Landry thing. He constantly accused him of playing favorites.
Yeah.
He said that Landry played favorites.
They do that.
It's totally true. He said that he wanted attention. He didn't like the way Landry did things. He wanted attention. He wanted respect. He didn't feel like he was getting it from the team.
Sure.
From the team, the white power structure
Right.
wasn't giving him respect. The white power structure is not
crazy.
giving me respect. He said that he wanted to be promoted by the team's publicists. He wanted them to talk. He wanted to make money. He wanted to get endorsements, and that's exactly what he said. He said he wanted to live a certain lifestyle.
Yeah.
And if the Cowboys wouldn't help him with it, God damn it, he'll make it happen himself.
He is resourceful.
By dunking, by getting doctor's notes for beards, shit like that gets attention, and then tons of other crazy shit that we're going to talk about. There's so much crazy shit here. His rookie year, 75, he plays in 13 games.
Wow.
Doesn't start any of them. He's a backup. They're kind of working him in.
Yeah.
He returns a lot of kicks too. He's a kick returner.
That's amazing. Which
is wild. He has one forced fumble, a fumble recovery. Also, they didn't record sacks yet. Then they didn't record sacks till 82.
Is that right?
Absolutely. So that's why guys like Deacon Jones, some of these great defenders, you never know where they stand on the sack list because they didn't record them back then.
Wow.
So it's crazy. It really is. They didn't record it till like 82.
How did they jot it down in the stats? Just like a tackle for a loss?
It was a tackle for a loss. That's it. So, I mean, they can go back and piece shit together, and they have guys like Deacon Jones. They pieced together and said he had like 300 sacks over some crazy number that's ridiculous. Guys like that, but who knows? I mean, honestly,
nuts.
Yeah, who knows what was whatever. So, but. So we don't know what he did there, but the team goes 10-4.
Okay.
So that's better.
Yeah.
They're going to make the playoffs. They beat the Vikings 17-14 in the divisional game.
Yeah.
They go to the NFC Championship game and beat the shit out of the Rams 37-7.
Okay.
So that's
what
an
year
ass
is
whooping.
that?
75.
Okay.
75 season. So they go all the way to the Super Bowl in this. This is January 18th, 1976.
Yeah.
Okay. Super Bowl 10.
Okay.
Now, this is the thing here. Now, in the Super Bowl back then, and now too, shoes now are a big deal.
Yeah.
You know, there's a big contract with the team, and the NFL as a thing. And
particular players have specific shoes.
And it's very, very contracted, and everything is, this one's a sponsor, and you can't be seen wearing this shoe because they're, forget about it.
Because you're getting money from those.
Big business then. Back then, not big business. If you've ever seen, again, the 30 for 30 on the Nike thing, when Nike started, basically they were like, they made running shoes, and they were like, hey, let's give some shoes to basketball kids and see if they'll wear them. Maybe the other people will buy them if they wear them. Smart.
Yeah.
So they had the same idea here in 1975. Thomas liked to wear Adidas. Okay, he always wore Adidas in his career. I understand. I'm an Adidas man myself.
That's your bag.
That's my jam there. Yeah. But during this game, he wore shoes with a Puma logo on them. But not. It actually wasn't the Puma logo, as we'll find out. He says, quote, before the game, Puma gave me a bag of money to wear their shoes. There was $3,000 in there, but I tested out the Puma shoes on the turf before the game, and they were like ballet shoes. They didn't protect my toes. So to get the money, I actually painted the Puma emblem on the side of my Adidas shoes.
That's fucking genius.
I put a sock over my shoe and painted over it. I never heard anything from Puma after that, but what were they going to do? I already had their money.
That's brilliant.
That's beautiful right there.
I like what he does. does.
That's what I mean. He'll hustle. He's like,
that's
sure,
brilliant.
Give me a bag of money. I'm not going to say no. I'll say yes to whatever you're saying and then do what I want because it's cash and you gave it to me already.
Do it the way I do it.
What do you do? Come back and get it?
Right.
No, it's my money now. Yeah, sure, those are Adidas.
Right.
Yeah, I put a sock, or those are Pumas. I put a sock over them.
Right.
Don't worry about it. What do you know? But yeah, luckily they don't. Well, for them, they don't give him any more money. A defensive back named Charlie Waters said it's totally true. He said, quote, he did it. It was clever. That was typical Thomas. We made a lot more money on what shoes we wore in the Super Bowl because you got much more exposure in the game. And Thomas would love to have the cash so he could buy a little more entertainment, if you will, after the game or even during the game. We're going to find out what that entertainment is in a minute here because it's Thomas likes to get entertained, let's just say, if you want to use air quotes of entertained. We'll find out exactly what that means here. Another story that's crazy here. Fucking crazy. Like nowadays, the concussions are a big deal.
Yeah.
Guy has a concussion. He's out a certain amount of time. There's a protocol.
Yeah.
Back then, you could basically get your head hit with a baseball bat 7 times and they'd be like, you cool? Yeah? All right, get back in there. Fine. Like literally, that's how bad it was.
Intense.
Coming into Super Bowl 10, Lynn Swann, the receiver for the Steelers, and he's a commentator and just a kind of a suave, handsome, older...
He's so handsome.
Suave, handsome, older black man at this
crazy.
point. He suffered in the AFC Championship game versus the Raiders a severe concussion.
Yeah.
Not, got his bell rung a little. Yeah. A severe concussion that forced him to spend 3 days in the hospital that week.
Christ.
That's how bad of a concussion he had. And the next week was the Super Bowl. And so people didn't expect him to play, or they didn't know whether he was going to play.
Right.
Nowadays, it'd be no question.
He's not in.
He's not in.
That's the rules.
Yeah, but back then they're like, is he going to play? And they're saying if he does play, he's just going to be a decoy. The whole deal. He's not able to participate in practices. He just did like a minor workout.
Yeah.
He didn't do anything all week, but they expected him to possibly play. Now, before the game, Dallas's safety, Cliff Harris, said, quote, I'm not going to hurt anyone intentionally, which right away, wow. But
Lynn's about to get fucked up.
He's going to drool when he smiles for about the next 5 years. But getting hit again while he's running a pass route must be in the back of Swann's mind. I know it would be in the back of my mind. He's like, I'm going to fuck you up.
He was hoping Lynn heard that interview and just rattled him just at least a little.
A little, just to wince a drop. Swann said, quote, I'm still not 100%. I value my health, but I have no dizzy spells. I read what Harris said. He was trying to intimidate me. He said I'd be afraid out there. He needn't worry. He doesn't know Lynn Swann. He can't scare me or the team. I said to myself, the hell with it, I'm going to play.
Wow.
Sure, I thought about the possibility of being re-injured, but it's like being thrown by a horse. You have to get up and ride again immediately, or you may be scared for the rest of your life. Not if the horse injures you horribly.
Right.
Like
Christopher
there you
Reeve.
Go. Thank you very much.
Google that shit and ask that son of a bitch how that getting back on the horse works.
Exactly.
Christopher Reeves' horse for the rest of his life was a
had
wheelchair.
Wheels on it. Yeah, he had a wheeled horse. This is my horse wheelie.
He had a fucking chariot.
Yeah, he did. That's true.
Jesus.
Sure, I'll ride a horse, but I'm going to need a cart, too, to attach to that thing. I'm not going to get on it. Either that or just strap him to the top of it. Look, I'm doing it. It's like, what about Bob? He's like Bill Murray tied to the sailboat. I'm sailing.
Lynn, you're on the wrong side of history, sir.
So, wow. That was a dumb thing to say, I have to say. You're not going to be scared the rest of your life.
What are you going to never ride a horse again? Probably.
You know, when you get a brain injury, you got to get right back in there and smash your head on something. That's obviously.
What a fucking bananas thing to say.
Jesus Christ. Now, the Orange Bowl is where they play this game in Miami. Yeah. It's versus the Steelers, obviously. We're talking about Lynn Swann.
Right.
The halftime show, wow. These halftime shows are not what they are now.
It's funny, before we started this, you and I talked about like the halftime shows and compared like who played what when.
Yeah.
And it only started getting to where like Americans would watch it in
92.
Yeah.
Michael Jackson.
Ridiculous.
It was the Michael Jackson
Before
Super
that,
Bowl.
it was just
garbage.
stupidity.
It was just garbage.
Why watch this shit?
But it literally was just a pile of garbage like this, where the halftime show is Up with People. Which, if you Google search Up with People, it's a picture of about 47 people with instruments. It's too many fucking people should be the name of the band, not Up with People.
It's too many cooks in the kitchen.
Too fucking many people. It's ridiculous. They presented a song called, quote, 200 Years and Just a Baby, America's tribute to America's bicentennial, which sounds earth-shattering. Doesn't it sound amazing? Holy shit. Wow.
What the fuck?
Whew, people were like, no, shut up. Up with People's on. No, I'm watching it.
They're telling us that we're all just babies.
Wow. This Super Bowl drew 57.7 million viewers, which is nothing compared to now.
Yeah.
30-second commercial went for $110,000.
Wow.
Which is hundreds of thousands and millions now for a 30-second commercial. It's crazy. Scenes were filmed from this game for the 1977 film Black Sunday, which is it's about a terrorist attack on the Super Bowl with a Goodyear blimp.
Jesus.
That's the movie. And that movie, if you're a Mystery Science Theater 3000 nerd like I am, that is from the first season of Mystery Science Theater. They do Black Sunday. And it's a terrible fucking movie.
I'm sure
it's god-awful.
Yeah.
And the episode's not that great either. It's a Joel, and it's before they really wrote him out well. But still very interesting to watch. Check it out. Find it somewhere. Now, on the opening kickoff, Cowboys ran a reverse to Hollywood. They ran a reverse to Henderson.
Yeah.
So he gets the ball on the opening kickoff and returns it for 48 yards, which is at the time a record in the Super Bowl for a kickoff return. He is knocked out of bounds by Roy Garella, who is a kicker. So that's embarrassing there at the Steelers' 44-yard line. Now, Lynn Swann in this game had about the best game any receiver's ever had. If you've seen pictures from this game, it is him catching balls that no human man should catch. It's him getting his legs taken out by somebody while tipping a ball back and forth in the air and catching it just as he's hitting the ground. He and a defender go up together, and he just somehow gets about 2 feet higher than him and just reaches in front and takes the ball and then lands gently and fucking keeps running. And he makes a great catch in the end zone. He had a monster game. It was like the best game of his life.
As if like brain damage just made him better.
He just didn't even think like, oh, maybe this will hurt me. He was just like, I'll run and jump there. Like it just brain damage.
Give me that ball and I'll run there.
Apparently, brain damage helps you in football. That's the what we've come to here. L.C. Greenwood, defensive tackle for the Steelers, recorded 4 sacks, but they didn't record sacks. But now they know he had 4 sacks, which would have been a record for the Super Bowl.
4 in the Super Bowl.
In the Super Bowl.
That's crazy.
You'd be MVP today if you had 4 sacks in the Super Bowl. Easy. Easy. Steelers win the game 21-17. So Cowboys lose the game, but that's okay. That's okay. It's sad. The Cowboys are upset. Landry's not happy about this. But
they won the NFC Championship, though. That's pretty great.
That's fine. But Thomas, he's got other plans anyway. He's Jesus Christ.
He's got $3,000 in his pocket, too.
He's got cash. Just a bag full of cash.
Big brown bag.
Free shoes. And he's about to hit the town. So let's find out what he did here. He says, quote, I think it was in 1976. I went straight from the Super Bowl in Miami where we lost to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I met a famous singer and went to Hollywood. Marvin Gaye was a good friend. Richard Pryor was a good friend. I stayed at his house and he stayed in my house when he came to Dallas. In that crowd, I was introduced to the fast lane of freebasing cocaine. Oh, baby. Here comes our second character of free base cocaine. I wasn't a big drinker. In fact, I never was. I never did finish a beer, so I never really became an alcoholic until I really was at the end of my road. I smoked crack with Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye. Richard introduced me to freebase early on in 1976. I may be one of the founding fathers of smoking cocaine. Well then.
I'm not a founding father of anything.
I'm so proud of you. Just picture him with a wig on, very proud to be signing a document with a quill.
I'll sign my name biggest.
Wow. Holy shit. One of the founding fathers. Quote,
freebasing cocaine.
Quote, I go back to the bicentennial in 76, and I am probably one of the founding fathers of smoking crack. Really?
That is so awesome.
He's so proud of it.
That's incredible.
It's like I am the fucking, I invented crack. Me and Richard Pryor.
I invented how to do this.
This is great. And he loved crack.
I didn't know Marvin Gaye was like that.
Oh, shit, yeah.
I didn't know he was into that.
Fuck yeah.
That's awesome.
How many people get shot by their dad who don't have problems? You got there's drugs in that house. I'm sorry. But Marvin Gaye had a big problem. And so did Richard Pryor. Yeah, they were hanging out together.
I knew Richard Pryor.
That's famous. Half his act is about. Well, want to find out a little more about blowing yourself up?
Richard Pryor killed a car.
He did. That's a great
That
bit,
man
too.
was crazy. He was living a life.
So let's find out what he says here about this, about Richard hanging out. This is, okay, wow. You think about Richard Pryor in the 70s, that's a crazy life he's living. This is a little sliver into Richard Pryor's living room, on a late night when he's on a bender, okay? Quote, when Richard Pryor would cuss me out like only he could because I wanted to light up a cigarette around the ether, that flammable shit you use to freebase cocaine that could get you in trouble and explode on you, Richard would motherfuck me and scream, no, don't spark that lighter. Don't light that match. Are you crazy, man? Are you trying to blow us up, motherfucker? So I would have to go outside and smoke. In any case, I really didn't like freebase. I really loved crack. So...
You reading the quote is so much better than he could have ever done it. I really loved crack.
I really loved crack. That's how I think he would have said. I mean, it was phenomenal. 2 loves in my life. When I was a little kid, I fell in love with Lucky Charms and then crack later. So 2 things. Wow. So he talks about how... he in football, they gave you lots of drugs. It was like not illegal ones, but tons of drugs. He said that after on the plane, this is like a team plane thing. He said, quote, about 30 minutes after the plane took off, the trainer would start at the front row with a big bag of hydrocodone, and he would walk down the aisle offering them to players.
Yeah.
So he's walking around like it's Halloween.
Like the stewardess?
Yeah, literally like, hydrocodone? Would you like an opiate? Like, it's fucking ridiculous. That's what they were doing.
Like Sprite? Would you like some oxycodone?
That's what they did back then, though, because what else are you going to do? And the guys are hurting. You just give them pills and get them back out there. They didn't give a shit, and they don't care about them now either. They don't. But they really didn't care about them then. Yeah. Then it was like, well, Christ, take them up back and shoot them.
And the feigning is almost more insulting than just like pumping them full of painkillers.
Well, now they know they have to pretend like they care so women don't feel guilty for watching.
Right.
That's what it is. And I've heard them say that. Literally, like they have internal NFL memos where they're like, guys don't give a shit about concussions. Right. Women are fucked up over these concussions. Right. They feel bad watching a show where people are getting hurt. Right. Not only that, then they don't want their kids to watch it because they don't want their kids to want to play, and they don't want to tell them.
I feel like they pull that.
And men do it too, but that's the league's thought is about the women thing.
Yeah, it seems like when they pull that tent over the player to evaluate him and stuff.
Yeah.
If it really seems like they pull that over and be like, all right, now let's just. How was your night?
You good? We all right?
How's your wife doing? Because they're not doing anything under there.
No, what are they doing?
They're just bullshitting around. You got a pop up tent to make a triage unit out there.
Yeah.
It's so stupid.
It is stupid.
It's so dumb. You're making a makeshift triage for fucking somebody's concussion. Get out of here.
Well,
Stop pretending.
Back then, they wouldn't even bother with the tent.
Yeah, I know.
They'd be like, fuck him. This is what they did back then. He says, quote, throughout my career in the National Football League, and I played for 7 years, I had 20 plus concussions.
Of course.
They'd known about the dangers for a long time. My rookie year with the Cowboys, I would have to run down the field during practice and straight into 4 big guys holding their arms together. That was called the wedge.
Right.
As you've seen that. I don't think they're allowed to do that anymore.
Right.
Then they would tell you to break up the wedge. Well, I would get 5 yards from those guys, and I would just go airborne. I mean, I would fly into 300-pound guys and just knock myself silly. When I knocked myself silly, I didn't know that I had a concussion, but I'd lay on the ground completely out of it, and here would come the trainers. They would raise your feet up and ask you questions. They would go, quote, who are we playing? What day is it? What city are we in? Literally, that was the protocol in 1975. If you could fucking know what city you were in, you're fine to keep playing. Imagine that.
It's like...
wow.
Like a fucking bank, you call your bank and they're like, what's the password? All right, we can just give you your money now. And this is just 3 quick questions.
Yeah.
This is medical. This is
and
their
that's
livelihood.
Some shit that just could be in your brain going. You could look up and see that you're in Boston, or you could look up and see you're in New York, and you go,
you see
I'm
the
in
name
New York.
of the stadium.
Yeah, you
see
put
it together.
The guy's helmet on the other side.
And they only play on Sunday and Monday.
Basically, if you don't know...
What day is it? We're playing football. It's obviously Sunday.
Basically, if you don't know, fucking basic questions, it's ridiculous.
So
what
dumb.
do you... wow. I mean... Shit, if you know that, that's fine.
That's enough.
That is
that's
not
plenty.
concussion protocol.
Now get back over there and let's run the XYZ button hook, whatever the fuck.
Go throw yourself into those guys again. Jesus. So he said, quote, I developed a dependency upon drugs as a playing device. The trainers would always give you something that would help, but the pain never quits. You hurt off the field. You take it home to your family. You were trained to be dependent on something to make it feel better. There was always some substance to help you feel better, which is true. I mean, they give you a bunch of painkillers, and that's back then especially. It's the 70s. Team doctors saying I should take these. I guess they're fine.
They tell me to do it, I do it.
Yeah, there was no we didn't know anything
That's
about
the guy
that
we
shit
have
back then.
to trust.
Yeah.
Right.
What else are you going to do? Now, 1976 season, Too Tall Jones is Hollywood Henderson's roommate. Too Tall Jones is an awesome, big, giant monster of a person.
Yeah.
He's huge. Just a monster. He's like 6'9", playing defensive end in the NFL.
Sweet Pete.
And a big, huge guy, too. And great player for him, as a matter of fact. He played forever.
Yeah.
Christ, he played into the 80s. They hung out and drank together. Too Tall says they attended at least one orgy together also.
Perfect.
So that's nice. It's the 70s.
Can you imagine how many women must take for Too Tall Jones?
Oh, my God. He just had him draped on him, one over the shoulder. Jesus Christ. Hollywood looking suave with his beard. Hey, baby, you like this beard, don't you?
I can't imagine how
I got a doctor's note. Imagine how gross a 70s orgy is. The musty smell of a fucking big
unshowered.
Big pube mounds, the must coming off of there. Holy shit. My God.
After they just played an NFL game,
My
that room
God.
must smell god-awful.
And the
everyone
in there.
Would you want to be in that room with those guys banging on women?
Nah, I don't want to be in the room with
thank
Too
you.
Tall Jones. Thank you. That sounds like a porn name.
It does.
This is Too Long Jones over here. No. No. Too Tall says, quote, I played 15 years and saw 15 years come and go, and I can honestly say Thomas was the most gifted and talented athlete I ever had the experience of playing with.
Wow.
Thomas agrees, obviously. He agrees. He said, quote, this sounds like bragging, but I was just blessed. I was a really special football player.
Yeah.
I should be in the Hall of Fame, but that just wasn't in the cards for me, and we'll definitely find out why. This year, 1976, he played in 14 games, didn't start any again, did have a safety. Dallas goes 11-3 in the regular season. And then they play the L.A. Rams at home in the divisional game, and they're heavily favored. They're like 10-point favorites, and they lose 14-12.
Wow.
Yeah, so Landry's pissed, obviously.
Sure.
They need something. The 1977 season, they do get something in the draft.
Yeah.
In the first round, they pick up Tony Dorsett.
Fantastic.
Who's a Hall of Fame running back.
He's so tiny.
God damn it. Yeah, you were
so
telling
fast.
And didn't he? You tell me he stared at your girlfriend's boobs or something?
He was eye level with my girlfriend's
I love this story.
with Bed Puddle's breasts and made so many fucking inappropriate comments.
Yeah, there you
Hammered.
go. Hall
pissed
of Fame.
drunk. He was pissed drunk.
Well, now you know he's on hydrocodone and everything else. He's a mess.
Hammered.
He's got concussions
Just
leaking out.
telling my girlfriend's tits about how great of a day it was.
In his defense, he might have thought that was like his wife.
He might have thought that was two people standing
he might have thought that was his wife's head. He'd have
Bed
no
Puddle's
idea at that
tits were
point.
huge, so it's possible he thought it was two people.
He didn't know.
No.
So this is the last season, the 77 season, where they play 14 games in a season. They go to the current 16-game schedule the next year.
All right.
Thomas plays in all 14 games, starts all 14 games.
Yeah.
So now he's a starter. 3 interceptions this year. He had a 79-yard interception return for a touchdown.
Awesome.
Which is a big deal.
Yeah.
2 fumble recoveries. I mean, that's making a difference and an impact on the field. We don't know sacks, like we said, but that's an impact on the field.
Sure.
3 picks is huge for a linebacker. Team goes 12-2.
Wow.
So crushing it.
Yeah.
I mean, that's killing it. They beat the Bears 37-7 in the playoffs. They beat the Vikings 23-6 in the NFC Championship
and they made
game.
it to the Super Bowl.
Go all the way to the Super Bowl versus the Broncos.
You betcha.
Sorry, Jimmie.
That's depressing.
I remember seeing this on NFL films about 300 times as a kid. And every time I would root for a different outcome. I'm like, maybe the Broncos win it this time. Nope.
Maybe they pull it out.
Nope, Craig Morton still sucks. Never mind. Shit. Damn it. They would say the doomsday defense of the Dallas Cowboys.
Right.
They show Morton running for his life. Show guys getting stopped at the line of scrimmage.
Sad.
It was a mess here. So they play the game. This is in New Orleans. At the
Superdome?
The Superdome.
Yeah.
Thank you, Jesus. I had it in front of me, and I'm like,
got
what is
you.
that? How does that word said?
I don't know how I pulled that out of my dumb ass, but I did.
The national anthem is wow. This is performed by Phyllis Kelly of Northeast Louisiana University.
Oh boy.
So not exactly a big star for the anthem, but the halftime show, don't worry, Jimmie. They bring the star power. Performing a piece called From Paris to the Paris of America is the Tyler Junior College Apache Bells.
Wow.
With Pete Fountain.
Who?
So if that helps sweeten the deal for you.
But what we're going to bring these people, but don't worry, we'll throw in Pete Fountain for free.
Wait a second. Is Fountain available? We're not taking the Apache Bells if we can't get Fountain. I want Fountain on that fucking field at halftime.
We got to make it something French. It's Louisiana.
He's got to slap the Apache bells on the ass. You know how that goes. Come on. The people want action.
Jesus Christ.
Sex sells. So this game, 79 million viewers. So big up from the last one. $162,000 for a 30-second
20
commercial.
million people more.
Yeah, 20 million people more, and it's $52,000 more for an ad.
Yeah.
So not bad. Now, this game, he is deep into coke by this point. He's been hanging out with Richard Pryor
for several years.
Yeah, he's for several years. At one point, too, like he's so Hollywood at this point. This is when he gets the name Hollywood. They say there's different stories. One says he gave it to himself, and another one says a teammate gave it to him because he came in a limo one day to practice. Showed up in a limo with a fur coat on, and they were like, "What's that, Hollywood?" Yeah. So it was that sort of thing here. He said that he was late to practice one day because he was banging one of the Pointer Sisters.
Oh my God!
Things.
What?
He's like, I was fucking a Pointer Sister, so sorry I'm late.
He doesn't even know which one.
That's literally his excuse. I was hanging out with the Pointer Sisters and I fucked one of them.
That's
and I'm
rad.
Late. Sorry.
I want that story.
And all the teammates were like, "That's acceptable. That's cool.
We will accept that
that's
for
fine.
sure."
I don't think Landry thought that was okay. It's like, I don't give a shit which Pointer Sister you're having sex with. You be here on time.
What's a Pointer Sister?
Yeah. So he is big time into coke by this point. Now, he was asked later on if he did drugs in New Orleans leading up to the game that whole week, and he said, quote, "I was with Richard Pryor and Marvin Gaye, so what the fuck do you think I was doing?" In other words, yes.
You betcha.
I was doing a lot of coke. Now, what he does is, let's see here. I don't know how to put this. He plays this game, this I say because it's so stupid. He plays this game with an inhaler. Yeah. Got a lot of guys have inhalers tucked in their waistband. His, though, was filled with liquid cocaine.
Wow.
He played a Super Bowl game, liquid. This was he did the next year's, too. The next Super Bowl.
What the fuck?
Liquid cocaine during the game. He says, quote, "Everybody knew I had sinus problems." Well, yeah, you're doing a shitload of coke. No wonder why. Yeah. He said, quote, "I was carrying around a roll of toilet paper at team meetings and sniffing like I was living in the snow. So it wasn't going to cause any talk if I pulled out my inhaler and gave myself some drops. I walked to the side where we were on offense and took a couple of deep belts of my liquid cocaine. My nose was getting raw." Yeah.
Wow.
So he
couldn't snort it anymore.
No.
He needed it right into his face.
Later on, he said his septum. It was just his nose was a big scab on the inside, so the cocaine would irritate it.
Good Christ.
So that's why he liked smoking crack a lot too, and doing that sort of thing. Here, Cowboys win 27-10.
Yeah.
This game. So that's not. So now he's been on 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah.
1-1.
Right.
He's
been on 2. Right.
1-2 at this point. So that's fine. Sorry, he's 1-1 at this point.
Right.
So yeah. So
but they won the fucking NFC Championship, and you lost to Lynn Swann, crushing everybody,
which was fine. And then you beat the living shit out of the Broncos. There's a great picture I'll post of Thomas hitting Craig Morton, the quarterback of the Cowboys, and Thomas is like leaning up with his feet.
Broncos.
And Craig Morton's feet are 3 feet off the ground?
Yeah,
He's like a child being mauled by his older brother.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. So Cowboys maul him 27-10, liquid cocaine and all. They still pull it off. This game was featured in an episode of All in the Family.
Really?
Yes, it was, called Super Bowl Sunday, where this was when Archie started to become part owner of the bar down there, turned into Archie's Place, which was the spinoff later on. Anyway, after Edith died, very sad. So Archie rents a big screen TV, which was 32 inches in the 70s, at the bar to show the game.
Fuck.
Oh God, they needed 4 people
in
a hand
Henderson
cart
and Too Tall Jones to bring it in,
and their giant cocks all loaded up on cocaine. And Archie sold ham sandwiches for $1.50.
Jesus.
Now later on, once everybody cleared out, 2 of the guys that were there watching the game the whole time robbed Archie,
of course.
took all his money, and left. So
was it a couple of black guys?
It actually wasn't. No, it wasn't. It was
I could see that happening.
I can see the actor, and I know who he is. He's one of those. He was in a ton of television in the 70s and 80s. You'd know him if you saw him.
I could see All in the Family not realizing that was a bad plan.
Yeah, no, no, they were All in the Family was very progressive. Actually, the whole show was making fun of Archie.
Okay, good.
Norman Lear is the same guy who wrote the Jeffersons and everything else. So definitely not like that. Now he's a Super Bowl champion. Everybody loves him.
Yeah.
He's just a fun guy at this point.
Yeah.
I'm going to say it now. This is Grace. That's Grace. This is Grace right here. Right. He's having fun. Everybody likes him. Yeah. Hanging out with Marvin Gaye. Yeah. Nothing's gone wrong at this point. Liquid cocaine, but he wins the Super Bowl, so fuck it.
Everyone out there should listen to Small Town Murder. Yeah. You really should, mainly because you never know who's next door. Oh. And that's the point of this show, really. You never know who is next door. You never know what's going to happen on Small Town Murder. That's what makes it so wonderful. The only thing you do know is that people are going to die, and we're probably going to make jokes about it. That's it. That's all we can promise you. We dig into these towns. We see what makes them tick, from local legends to scandals they may have had. And, of course, the biggest scandals of all, horrible murders that take place there. And we put our, what I feel is a completely appropriate comedic spin on the whole thing. And you know you need a laugh right now. So get in there, listen to Small Town Murder. Follow Small Town Murder on the Wondery app or wherever you get your podcasts. You can listen to Small Town Murder early and ad-free right now on Wondery Plus.
In the 1980s, a rosé swept the country.
Hey, Mike, I really like this white Zinfandel.
Well, good. Now put it down. We're going to try another one.
White Zin became America's top-selling wine. But most don't know that this sweet drink has a sour history. What began in 1986 with counterfeit bottles.
A big fraud, a multi-million-dollar fraud.
Sent investigators chasing one of the most powerful families in the business, the Licciardis. But the closer the feds got to them, the more dangerous things became. It's a story of deceit.
At the time, I was paranoid.
Threats.
You touch my kids, I will kill you.
And murder.
With a .22 caliber bullet to the head.
What started with a scheme to mislabel wine spilled into a blood-soaked battle for succession. Welcome to Bloodvines. You can binge listen to Bloodvines exclusively and ad-free on Wondery Plus. Join Wondery Plus in the Wondery app, Apple Podcasts, or Spotify.
And now, back to the show.
Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you more about Stamps.com.
Stamps.com.
It's all we will use to ship our things out.
True.
It's so much easier. I will never stand in the post office line again. I really won't, because at Stamps.com, it's an important tool for every business. You can do this. It's the best. Any service you can get at the post office, you can do through Stamps.com. Print postage for letters and packages at your convenience.
Right at your home.
24/7. Yeah. Right at your desk. You get the exact amount of postage every time. Never underpay and then get it back in the mail and all that. Don't overpay. Nobody wants to get ripped off. It saves you time. It saves you money. Create your Stamps.com account in minutes online with no equipment to lease, no long-term commitments. Click, print, mail, and you are done.
That easy.
There is no other way but Stamps.com. All the services of the post office at your fingertips. We here at Crime and Sports use Stamps.com because it's really the only way we could do it.
Truly.
It's the only way to do it, and honestly, I couldn't do it any other way at this point. Right. I'd say, where's my Stamps.com? Because I'm used to it, and I love it, and it's terrific. And right now, you too can enjoy the Stamps.com service with a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus postage and a digital scale. All you need to do is go to Stamps.com, click on the microphone at the top of the homepage, and type in CIS. Right. Just like the show, that's Stamps.com, enter CIS.
Stamps.com and then enter CIS. And now back to the show.
1978 season. Mm-hmm. He plays in 15 games, starts 13.
Wow.
Has a fumble recovery, makes the Pro Bowl that year. So now he's the recognition.
Yeah.
National goddamn recognition as a top-tier player at his position, in addition to having a huge mouth.
Right.
So he does that. The team goes 12-4.
That's great.
Not too shabby at all here. The first year of 16-game season.
That'll get them to win that fucking NFC West.
That'll definitely.
Or South or whatever
East.
the fuck they're in.
It was always
the
East. Yeah, they were the East with the Giants.
Okay.
For some reason. And the
that
Cardinals,
doesn't make any sense, but whatever.
Stupid. And then the Cardinals moved to Arizona and we're still in the East.
Right.
So I was like, that's okay. So they beat the Falcons 27-20 in the divisional game. They beat the Rams in the championship game 28-0.
Yeah.
That's because the Rams had Vince Ferragamo, who's an Italian quarterback. See what I mean? See what I mean about that? Don't do that. Should have picked the Pollock.
Right.
So anyway, Super Bowl 13 is in Miami again. Jesus, this guy in fucking Miami.
That's a bad
Can you
place to
imagine? In 79 too?
No.
My goodness God.
No.
At the end of the 78 season, which is early 1979. So they play Super Bowl 13 versus the Steelers in Miami.
Yeah.
The national anthem, sung by the Colgate 13.
Oh, boy.
Which I assume that's a choir from Colgate University. It's all I can imagine. Either that or it's some brightly pearly-toothed white kids singing. 13 of them.
The best ones. the best. Teeth.
Halftime show is Bob Janney presents Carnival, a salute to the Caribbean.
Jesus.
That's the halftime show.
No.
Holy shit.
They were really pandering to the location of the Super Bowl every year.
Oh, shit, yeah.
That's disgusting.
They were just like, maybe we can get the local people to keep watching from the stands.
That's disgusting.
Now it's like, fuck local.
Who cares?
Yeah, it's got to be Bruce Springsteen or Timberlake or whoever.
Fucking Katy Perry.
Yeah, so this game, 75 million people watch.
Yeah.
$185,000 for a 30-second spot, so not bad. Thomas is not happy in this game. He's pissed off, as a matter of fact. The Cowboys PR department decides beforehand. It's not like now. Now they have the media day, the Super Bowl, all the media days where you basically sit under a tent and everyone who wants to talk to you comes by. And you can act like a crazy person and draw attention to yourself or do whatever you want. Back then,
you got people coming down there that are being fucking weirdos with like, they've got some sort of gimmick that they're going to try to make a big deal out of it. It's so dumb.
It's so stupid.
I hate it.
Those are the worst. It's guys
got,
trying
like,
to
tassels on the ball,
trying to do self-promotion too, and all that shit.
So stupid.
Now these guys, this was different here. Back then the teams would pick who they wanted to basically represent them.
Oh, that's nice.
They would say, talk to this guy, and that guy, and then the play. They talk to them, and that would be they'd give the best statements. And we're going to go out there as a team, and we're really going to try. And Coach Landry's put together a great game plan that we believe in. They're going to say that shit. That's what they want him to say. He says, fuck that. I'm not part of that because they said not Thomas, Space. Don't talk to him.
Really?
Talk to these guys, not him. He said, oh, yeah? Fine. I'll talk to people myself then. Now I'm in business for myself. And he says, let's do it in their own words here.
I love it.
In their own words, quote, it's time to talk and I'm talking. Do you want another one of those dumb football players who says, we're going to go out there and we're going to try to play as hard as we can. I'm doing everybody a favor. I'm getting some people to hate me. I'm getting some people to love me. I'm getting some excitement going around here.
All right.
So that's what I'm talking about.
I like it.
What does he do to get excitement going? He insults the other team horribly.
Really?
He said in a game plan, he heard that Terry Bradshaw, because he's over-aggressive, you can trick him. You can make him think that something's open and make him take a chance because he's a gunslinger. You can make him take a chance. They used to do it with Brett Favre and guys like that, and then close the gap and try to get a pick on him. That was the strategy there. He took that as he's dumb. And he also heard that Bradshaw, he is dumb as a fucking stump,
he's a fucking idiot.
God, he's an idiot. Like him or not, he's a moron.
He's dumb as shit.
So he heard that Bradshaw couldn't get into LSU because of his test scores.
Oh, God.
First of all, Shaq went to LSU, okay? So do you think Shaq is a good test taker? I'm going to say not. Let's
Honey
just go on a
Badger
limb
went
here.
to LSU.
So Jamarcus Russell went to LSU. You know what I'm saying? Not difficult.
Not a lot of smarties.
Bradshaw, too dumb for LSU.
Fantastic.
Okay, couldn't get into LSU, so he went to Louisiana Tech, which that says a lot for Louisiana Tech. It's Louisiana Tech, if you're too dumb for LSU. Like, what the fuck kind of ad is that? Too dumb for LSU? Have you considered Louisiana Tech?
Right.
So, he says, okay, Terry Bradshaw's dumb. So he goes, all right. He goes to the first member of the media he can find, and he says, quote, Terry Bradshaw's so dumb he couldn't spell cat if you spot him the C and the A. So this was shit talking that was not done back then.
So good.
Yeah, it's great, too.
Yeah.
Back then, it was literally, we're going to go out there as a team, we're going to play hard. Anything outside of that was like, oh, this guy's crazy.
Right.
He was like, fuck that guy. Their quarterback's an idiot. I don't care how many rings he has. He's a moron. But it works.
Yeah.
This gets him and Terry on the cover of Newsweek, a split cover. It's like a diagonal cover with Terry up on the top and Thomas on the bottom saying.
Is he the original, mouth in the NFL? That's
pretty
incredible.
much. Yeah, he's this guy is a prototype for lots of guys that came after, but this is where it started. This is people were telling him, hey, calm down. He's like, fuck that shit.
Spills into basketball with Barkley.
Spills into everything.
Yeah.
I mean, this was, the 70s in basketball, you had the ABA, and there was a lot of guys with style there, so that kind of already happened.
But I mean the mouth.
The mouth, running the mouth.
That I love.
I do too. I don't mind it at all.
Especially when it's clever stuff like that. If it's
stupid, but he's saying, he's like talking shit, and he becomes kind of a master shit talker over the years.
I love it.
You gotta love Ali. Tons tons of shit talking. That's great.
Shannon Sharp did it too.
Absolutely, guys with a mouth. Yeah. He says at this point too, wow. He says, I had a deviated septum that was a bloody mess, and I had this big scab. When you're snorting cocaine pebbles up your nose, it's going to hurt the lining of your nose. Jesus. But I was only using the spray bottle for medical purposes, to ease the pain, not to get high. That's what I do, too. That's what I do, Jimmy. Generally, I had a headache the other day, and I said, fuck, man. I took some Advil out, and I almost took them, and I was like, you know what? The liquid gels are good. They work really fast, but liquid cocaine would numb this right down. That'll do it. I mean, I don't want to get high or anything, obviously. I don't even
feel my brain.
I'll just do that. So the Steelers end up winning this game 35-31. So they lose. The Cowboys lose. And I believe this is the game. It was one of these two Super Bowls with the Steelers. I believe this is the game where the tight end gets hit right in the chest with the ball. Right in the chest with the ball, like it would have been the game, would have given the Cowboys the lead. In the end zone, wide open, ball hit him right in the chest and bounced off. And before the ball was a foot away from him, he was already like punching the ground, like, motherfucking son of a bitch bastard. Like he freaked out, like, God damn it. That was everything.
Almost did it.
Almost. I was the hero, and now I'm an idiot. So I think that was the game. I'm not sure. Now they win 35-31. You think Thomas is upset about this?
No.
He's in Miami.
He's got coke.
He's in Miami, man. Let's find out how Miami goes for him in the 70s, as we decided here. Early 1979. Let's find out what Miami was going on. He said, quote, I'm in Miami, the headquarters of cocaine, and I was trying out some new stuff. Some Colombian drug dealers were just giving me stuff.
Wow.
I had about 4 ounces on me when I got on the team plane to go back to Dallas after the game.
That's a lot.
4 ounces is a shitload of coke to take on the team plane. But he doesn't give a fuck, man. So he doesn't care at all. Yeah. This is what I mean. He's like, we lost the game, but Colombian drug dealers.
Guess who's got 4 ounces of Colombian cocaine?
It's a quarter pound of coke they gave you. Here you go. Holy shit. First of all, that's expensive.
Yeah.
Number one, especially in 1979.
That's,
holy
the
shit.
height of it.
That's before coke got cheaper. Yeah, this is when, before it was
This is when it was
everywhere.
Tough to get.
This is when it wasn't just like, regular people doing coke. It was only like, Marvin
High
Gaye.
society.
Yeah, it was Marvin Gaye and it was Richard Pryor doing it here. Other problems for Thomas at this point. In the locker room, he punched out a teammate.
Oh, boy.
Mike Stenstrud, which is not... That's not advised, generally. No. They don't like that.
Generally, you like to get along with those guys.
Yeah, he got in a big brawl with Randy White, who was the number 2 overall draft pick the year he was drafted, and who's a big son of a bitch, too. A big, giant, hulking son of a bitch.
And he fought him, too.
And then on a team flight, this is on an airplane, mind you, in a fucking tube, he gets in a fight with Robert Brazil, a teammate, and he pulls a knife on him. Thomas pulls a knife on Brazil and is like, flicking it with his finger and threatening to stab him with it on the team plane. Yeah. Generally,
you're not supposed to take that on the plane in the first place.
No, those are coke. That's coke behavior right there. That's coke behavior to whip out That's not the environment to whip knives out and threaten stabbings in a professional environment here. Early 1979, he is in the Superstars competition.
Okay.
They did this back in the day on TV. They would have like the network Superstars. Or they would have like this is the stupidest shows ever. They'd have like, Chachi and Henry Winkler and whoever the cast of Happy Days would be like in a relay race against the, NBC's top shows.
So stupid.
People. It was a
They've got it
show.
Now, too. It's
they
like Dancing with the Stars or like Survivor or Celebrity anything.
This was teams based on what networks they were on. They did the Battle of the Network Superstars, and they also did Battle of the Superstars, which was a bunch of athletes, and they just have them do like races and fucking
parlor
relays and like stupid Olympic events kind of to see shit here.
Right.
So he's there. He goes. It's in Freeport in the Bahamas. Okay.
So he went for the vacation.
He went for the vacation. Yeah. Well, we'll find out what he went for here. He says.
Gotcha.
He says that it was held there. He said, I packed for the festivities and carried it on with me. A half ounce of cocaine.
Good God.
An ounce of incredible Thai sticks, which is good weed, in case you don't know. And about 30 Quaaludes, which aren't really available anymore. If you watch The Wolf of Wall Street, they were a big deal back then.
It's kind of obsolete drugs at this point.
Yeah. Each different high in its own plastic bag, he says. I'd been on the plane taking a toot here and there, so when I got to customs, I was loose.
What a 70s thing to say. taking a toot.
I was taking a toot, and I felt real loose coming up to customs. When they asked for my shoulder bag, I gave it to them without hesitation. Then I realized what I'd done.
Yeah.
Oh, my God, I said to myself, I'm busted. This is it. I'm going to jail. My life is over.
Yeah.
Then he says, and this is a quote from him, not me. I did not. I'm not going to talk about shade. This is all him. He says, quote, I love this so much. Jesus Christ. This jet black gentleman, obviously 150% Bahamian, he's from there, was the customs agent, and he was pawing through the bag like a pro. He opened the sides and slid his fingers down where I would have been hiding the stuff if I'd been hiding it. The baggies were sitting out in the middle of my satchel like letters from home. He looked at them. I saw him run his fingers over the packages. I looked him in the eyes. Quote, Hollywood, he said, and his British Bahamian lilt, have a good time. I see you have brought everything you might need. I'm a star. They don't bust stars.
Right.
I wasn't vulnerable. That's his quote. I'm a star.
They don't even
bust
care
stars.
what I do anymore.
That's when he figured it out.
Yeah.
He goes, they don't bust stars.
Right.
Holy shit, I'm invulnerable. I can take coke wherever I want.
That's unbelievable.
What a great feeling, huh?
Yeah.
So 1979 season comes around. Cowboys that season draft Larry Bethea in round one, who you might remember from Crime and Sports fame, past episode 40-something, where he, this is one of those bad ones, where he had stole a shitload of money from his mother and other people and blew his brains out in a crack house, outside of a crack house. So
this is the start of that.
A very sad ending, and this is a start of that. Yeah. And during that episode, too, I gave several Hollywood Henderson quotes about Bethea, and I actually had to hold back a whole bunch of them because I was like, we got to do Hollywood as an episode one of these days. I can't give too much Hollywood out. So, but they hung out a lot and did a lot of crack together. So that explains a lot for Larry Bethea there.
Sure.
Now, 1979 season, team goes 11-5. Yeah. Not bad, but they lose a playoff game to the Redskins 35-34. And that's their big rival, so that's not great. Doesn't matter, though, because Henderson isn't there for this, because he is has been sent home.
Okay.
This happened in November. They were playing the Redskins in November. They were being beaten 34-20. It was an ass-kicking.
It was Thanksgiving, wasn't it?
It was the end of the season. No, it was November 8th, I believe. They were getting their asses kicked. It was the end of the game. Yeah. Thomas is on the side. Hollywood's hanging out on the sidelines, and he's making faces at the camera, and he's smiling and all this, and he's waving around a handkerchief with the Cowboys team logo on it. Yeah. And so that pissed the management off. Yeah. They're getting their asses kicked, and he's looking like everything is fun. Yeah. And he's got this handkerchief going, woohoo, Cowboys #1, while they're getting their asses kicked. So they're very fucking mad about it.
Sure.
They asked Thomas about it, and he says he blamed it on Preston Pearson, his teammate. He said that Pearson asked him to show off the handkerchiefs because Pearson was marketing them, and so he was doing it as a favor. Coach Tom Landry didn't find it very charming and threatened to waive Thomas.
Wow.
And he ends up placing him on the reserve retired list on November 22nd, and he misses the last 4 games of the season in the playoffs, and he's done. Basically, just gets rid of him for this. I don't even want. He's a good player, makes the Pro Bowl the year before. He's such an asshole that he gets waived for that.
Wow.
Now, at this point, he's giving interviews, saying crazy shit. This is all coke talk, and it's so funny because if you didn't know he was on coke, you'd just be like, oh, this is interesting. But you're on coke, you're like, oh, he's just on coke. That's all he's saying. He said, quote, I didn't say I was going to beg to come back to the Cowboys he's talking about. He said, although I'm not sure, he said he was supposed to apologize to Landry, and he said, although I'm not sure what about. He's like, I don't understand what the fuck I'm supposed to do. And he said, if Landry says no, he doesn't want him back, he said, that's fine. I could always write a tell-all book about the Cowboys and, quote, reveal all their secrets. So he's like, now he's blackmailing them basically here. He's saying, they're going to cut me. Fine, I'll do that. He said he's spoken with Tom Landry, and he's hoping that it'll work out. Right. But sources close to the team say that Landry said he will, quote, never take Henderson back. He says he does like Thomas as a person. Sure. He says he likes him. He's a free-spirited guy. Quote, Tom likes Thomas's personality, is what they said. Thomas and I don't have any problems except about him playing for the Cowboys, is what he said at one point. So that's a problem, because that's what he needs to do here. So he's saying he keeps talking more and more. He says he's going to write about the, quote, whole truth about the Cowboys. He says he's going to accept a 6-figure offer that somebody's given him. Then he also says, quote, I want to give the Cowboys the right of first refusal. So you want to buy this tell-all book off of me?
They're going to give me $100,000 or $200,000. You guys are going to have to give me double that.
Yeah.
And I'll make it go away.
So, I'll give it to them and they can throw it in the garbage, but they own it, so it's fine. So he's basically saying, either way, you're going to pay me.
Right.
He's doing like the fucking, Goodfellas, fuck you, pay me thing. He's like, base got struck by lightning, fuck you, pay me. I don't care. Wrote a tell-all book, fuck you, pay me. Going to play linebacker, fuck you, pay me. You're going to pay me something, goddammit. So he starts talking shit, and he's like, I know they can play without me, but he's like, but can they win without me? Look at last year. They didn't make the Super Bowl without me. He's talking shit. He says he's not willing to just play for any other team. Yeah. He doesn't want to move to another city. He's not just willing to go anywhere.
Right.
He says, and this is his reason why he doesn't want to live anywhere else. He says, quote, I'm a pacifist. I don't know what that has to do with anything. I'm kind of scared to move to another city, adjusting to another society, and pulling up my roots in Dallas. Yeah. In other words, I don't know people who have coke there.
Right.
I have all my coke connections
all my
here.
connections are here.
I got a lot of whores that'll come over and do whatever I want for very little amount of money. I got a real good setup here. Right. But he's talking about New Orleans. He said New Orleans isn't bad. He said they play a flex defense there, so he could fit in.
Yep.
He said also he worked at he says, quote, I know them bayous.
Yeah.
I worked on an oil rig off Louisiana a couple summers when I was in college. Bourbon Street, Jazz. You can go hear Herb Alpert. So now he's making fun of Herb Alpert on top of all of this. Nobody is outside of his...
That's incredible.
No one's outside of his deal here. He said he's willing to play for a team on either coast. He's mostly looking for a coastal team. He said the Niners are interested in him, but he doesn't like the Niners. Don't you love him? He said,
I'll play anywhere that has nice weather and coke.
And coke. You got that? Is that good? Did I mention lots of women who are willing to do things for very little amounts of money?
I like loose women, I like coke, and I like beach community.
So New Orleans is decent for him.
Yeah.
Or San Francisco, which he says about San Francisco, quote, they'll probably go 2-14 again. So he's not too happy about that.
Tell them they're a shit team.
No shit. Now he says about Landry, quote, I think he thought I was using the team for my own ventures. He didn't. He did mention I had a poor game against Washington. I expected it to happen one of these days. If it hadn't happened by now, it would probably have happened next year because I was going to ask for an astronomical amount of money. So he's like, fuck the Cowboys now at this point. He says that's all then. He doesn't care. Screw them, fuck this team.
Yeah.
Later on, when he gets some sanity and less cocaine,
sobers up a smidge.
He says, quote, the day Tom Landry fired me, it was like a plate crashing on a concrete floor, breaking into 2,000 pieces.
Okay.
This is when his life falls apart here, when he gets let go from the Cowboys. And under his own words, he said that he went crazy, quote, went crazy for the next 1,400 days. Mm-hmm. That's a shitload of crazy. That's a lot. That's like 4 years of crazy.
Yeah.
Alcohol, cocaine, quaaludes, whatever he could get his hands on, he said.
For 4 years.
4 years. Left his wife behind.
Wow.
3-year binge. Just didn't care. Just complete and total binge. Just going nuts. He actually gets a TV gig here at one point.
Really?
February 7th, 1980. He's in an episode of Buck Rogers in the 25th Century.
Oh, that's depressing. That's a bad show.
It looks so terrible.
That's a
you
bad
were saying
show.
You've seen
I've
show,
seen
right?
it. My stepfather watched garbage-ass TV, like the worst shows ever.
Jesus.
And that's one of his favorites.
Oh, God.
That's like a midget in a robot costume. It's depressing.
It looks, it's like an R2-D2 knockoff or a C-3PO knockoff.
So bad.
The show description is, quote, a 20th century astronaut emerges out of 500 years of suspended animation into a future time to become Earth's greatest hero.
Oh, boy.
He's just some white guy in a jumpsuit.
Yeah.
Earth's greatest hero. I don't think so. Thomas plays an Olympian.
Meanwhile, if somebody was frozen for 400 years or 500 years? Think about 500 years ago.
Oh, God.
The 1400s,
completely
the 1500s.
Different time. And you pop
they're going to pop into 2000 and be Earth's greatest hero?
You get hit by a car in 5 minutes and it'll be over. What's that?
What
Pow,
the fuck?
Dead. Done. There's Earth's greatest hero. Fucked. Dead.
Can't operate
2
an
seconds.
iPod.
Nope. Jesus Christ. Can't do anything. Just a mess. Can't get on the internet and shit. People are telling him to email him. He's like, I don't know how to do that.
Russian hackers hack his email and it's all over.
He's sending all his money to Nigerian princes. He's like, he needs help. I'm Earth's greatest hero. I need to help these people.
I got to hero that guy.
Fuck. Jesus Christ.
That's ridiculous.
Thomas plays an Olympian. Elgin Baylor's also in the episode.
Okay.
Who's a famous NBA Hall of Famer. May 15th, 1980, he signs with the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah.
That's what I'm talking about here. Problem is, he does not show up a lot. After 3 games of the 1980 season, he is waived.
Oh, boy.
Bill Walsh, the coach, then another silver-haired middle-aged white man as they come, saw him high on crack cocaine and thought better of having him on the team. At one point, he fell asleep during while stretching his hamstrings during warm-ups, which is a bad sign. Might be a little hungover.
That's hilarious.
At that point, once he fell asleep, Bill Walsh told the GM. The GM had Thomas's checks, equipment, and shoes delivered to his condo doorstep the next morning. Here you go,
You're
asshole.
Fired.
You don't need to come back.
No.
Don't even need to bring a box. There's all your shit.
You imagine a box like that box that that you're fired box shows up on your front door.
Just dropped it off
with a picture of your wife in it, and when you go to open your door to leave for work, you see that shit.
That there.
And you just know there's no work today.
Well, he brought it. Yeah, there's no work for me. The GM brought it personally and also told him, by the way, the Oilers are interested in you, the Houston Oilers.
There you go.
We haven't told him you do a lot of coke.
Right.
Literally, they hadn't told him anything.
Nice of them.
So that was nice of them. But while he was there, he missed so much time, they began referring to him as Holiday Henderson and Hospital Henderson.
Ouch.
So, instead of Hollywood. So that's not great. That's not. You don't want to be that guy.
NFL players are vicious.
Yeah. It's happening in Hospital. It's happening in Holiday Henderson. So,
Holiday, I think that's my favorite.
I like
one.
Holiday Henderson myself here. Now, September 24th, 1980, he flies down to Houston and signs as a free agent with the Oilers.
All right.
They must have been desperate.
Yeah.
He signs there. Bum Phillips, the coach, is very excited. He says he's going to give him a chance to prove himself.
Yep.
He said, quote, he didn't try to put any square pegs in round holes.
Yep.
He's doing his thing.
Bum was great.
Bum was he's
so
a crazy
good.
person. Now, Hollywood said about this, he says that Phillips Phillips told him that he's not going to hold anything against him that happened in the past. This is a fresh start. Hollywood said, quote, he said he has had a lot of ball players come through that have reformed, and he could give a player a chance as long as he could produce.
Gotcha.
He said, I don't give a shit how much crack you smoke if you tackle somebody.
Right.
That's all it is right there. He says, quote, I think the players are looking forward to me not talking, but playing. This team is full of characters, full of personalities. I'll have to play on this team. So he needs to do it here. He has a hamstring injury that year. He only plays in about 6 games, and the Oilers actually make the playoffs that year. And
how about that?
They lose to the Raiders in the playoffs, and he's not signed for the 1981 season at all. Now for the Oilers. Now he says, quote, by that time I was smoking crack.
Oh, boy.
I couldn't even snort cocaine anymore because my nose was just a big scab.
Also, he couldn't afford it.
Couldn't afford it. I started a relationship with crack cocaine and couldn't stop. He started a relationship. It's very sweet.
He's going to marry her.
Yeah, quote, I was powerless. I was crazy. I came back to Dallas after the 1980 season with the Houston Oilers. John Wooten, who had played with Jim Brown, called me one day to meet him. I was leery about meeting him, but I went anyway. John Wooten said to me, Thomas, we all know what's going on with you. Here's a card. Go get some help. I looked at him like he was crazy and left to go smoke some more crack. And I kept smoking crack, barely missing getting busted and all the ugly stuff that happens when you're running wild, but I kept the card. He does keep the card. At one point during this time, he hits his wife. He slaps his mother.
Fuck.
He hit his mom.
Jesus.
When you slap your mom, that's too much crack.
You've done too much.
You've done too much. That's Simon. Your wife, too.
I mean, the scab in your nose should have been enough. But then you hit your mom.
Your wife, you can't hit either, obviously. No. But that's like one of those things that's common enough to where it's so terrible. And if you're an asshole abuser, you can maybe justify it in your own mind. You can't hit your mom. No one can hit their mom.
No.
Stop hitting your mom. Plus, she'll shoot you with a .22 rifle.
Sometimes.
So
that's a good
watch
point.
The fuck out.
What the
I wouldn't hit her
Why
either.
would you hit her? You've seen how she responds to violence.
It's fucking crazy, man. Now, he's finally, late 1980, he checks himself into rehab.
Okay.
He says, finally, I made the call to this rehab in Scottsdale, Arizona, and I told him I was coming. I smoked crack the whole ride over on Braniff Airlines to Phoenix. In the spring of 1981, I go to the psychiatric hospital, and I was in that facility for 3 months. During the time, I had surgery on my septum, where they cut out the rot and sewed my nose back together inside. In this hospital, I never heard about the 12 steps and never really paid attention to what that was all about. I thought that since I got my nose fixed and I got some sleep, I'd be okay. I'm in this place with people who have mental problems, but I don't think I'm anything like them. He also says he smoked crack on the steps of the clinic before he went in.
Perfect.
And while he was in there, he had more coke smuggled into him between treatments.
Jesus.
So that's the other thing he did. But February 13th, 1981, there's articles out there. He's good now.
I sidestepped the 12 steps by getting surgery and a nap.
A little sleep. I'm good now. And the papers agree with him.
Yeah.
He said, quote, drugs got me. When a person realizes they have a problem, well, it's like your arm stinks. You offend yourself first. I was doing it, but I hated myself. I was beginning to be two people, the straight Thomas and the high Hollywood.
You bet.
He's fine now, though. He's fine. He said, from start to finish, all my life, from one extreme to the other, I didn't do a big assortment of drugs, mainly cocaine. I started with marijuana. There were acids. Everything. Acids. Multiple type. He's a connoisseur.
Yeah.
The last 5 years, it's been cocaine. I got up to doing from a quarter to an ounce to a half ounce, a quarter of an ounce to an ounce, a half ounce in a day. That's terrible. Christ. I'm not proud of it. He's doing a half ounce of coke in a day.
That's so much.
Holy shit. He said drugs almost forced him into bankruptcy, obviously.
I can't
Jesus
believe
Christ.
they didn't.
I know, right? He said he had to go into rehab, no matter what the repercussions were professionally. He said he knew whatever the risk was, that if the league looked down on him and he wasn't going to be able to play anymore,
he had to.
He still had to, basically. Yeah. He said at this point, he said, "quote I'd like to ask people to pray for me. I need their prayers. I'm in a bad way, but I'm hanging in there."
Okay.
So he really wants your prayers, man. He said getting fired from Dallas multiplied his drug association.
Sure.
He said the fact that I didn't like myself after I got fired by Dallas, I was an occasional user then, which he wasn't.
Yeah.
But he was saying that. He said the strongest effect the Cowboys had on me was to triple my drug usage. Yeah, no shit. He then talks about how obviously Bill Walsh cut him because he was on a bunch of coke and he doesn't play that game.
Right.
When he's in the hospital, he has a quote though. He says, "quote I don't mean to sound arrogant from a hospital, but I'm still the best linebacker in football." Yeah,
sitting in a fucking hospital bed, withdrawing from cocaine. He's the best linebacker in the NFL.
He's the best linebacker in the NFL.
Who's not in the NFL?
Not even close to. He's in a hospital bed, the opposite of the NFL. Yeah. He says that. So he says that in the papers, he's saying everything's great. I'm good now. He said it'll be a struggle, but I won't give up. I think I can play, and I'm going to play. I'm going to play straight.
Yeah.
I'm going to do all this. Now, what really happened? Not in the papers, in real life, treatment didn't work at all. He said, quote, I went back to Dallas after that treatment and just started drinking gin and tonics.
Okay.
I don't know, and I felt I had to use something else. I didn't think sobriety was an option. In other words, if they said anything about 12-step or recovery, I missed the boat on it. Shortly thereafter, I would go to happy hour in Arlington, Texas, and then find myself in a phone booth calling the coke dealer. I never put that connection together. Okay, after you drink, you start to want to do cocaine.
It's true.
Fuck yeah. So Don Shula is interested in him, another silver-haired middle-aged white man from the Miami Dolphins. He said that Shula flew into the Dallas airport to meet him, and he said he loaded up on cocaine and went to meet Don Shula.
Oh, my God.
He got all fucked up. He said the high beams are on, and I'm talking to the great Don Shula. So Don Shula signs him.
Wow. He's like, Don Shula had no idea this guy was on coke.
He's like, hey, he's all coked up. He should be fine in Miami in 1980. There's no coke down there.
Right.
It's perfect. So June 10th, 1981, he signs with the Dolphins for $125,000. Part of the deal is he must go to NA, Narcotics Anonymous, twice a week. Comes in, loses 15 pounds, gets in great shape. He says, if I can come in here and make this team, it will be a miracle for me. It will be a personal thing. I don't want any special treatment, just to be humble and get my job done. He says he's not looking for a starting job, special teams, punt, kickoff coverage. That'll be great. I just want to be on the team.
Wow.
Now he's saying everything right.
Yeah.
Everything. Shula says if Thomas Henderson can give us anything near where he gave Dallas a few years ago, we have a fine football player.
Yeah.
He's doing well. He said now he's breaking rules.
Yeah.
Let's break another one. Quote, I've accepted Christ into my life.
Of course.
I've become a Christian.
Yeah.
It's been all in the past couple of weeks. That's all.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
2 weeks. He's so good with time management.
He's good. He's efficient.
12 steps is a surgery and a nap.
Couple weeks.
2 weeks, and I'm a Christian as fuck.
He said, quote, I spent a lot of time with James Robeson, the evangelist.
Yeah.
It's helped me. I hate to see my self-esteem go down or have stress lead me to depression, so now I get my comfort reading the Bible. Of course. So he's doing well. He is set to make the team.
Yeah.
actually, he's going to make the team. They're predicting he might even be able to start at some point in the season. Like, he's going to be a big deal. The final preseason game against the Chiefs that year, he breaks his neck.
Oh, my God.
He broke his fucking neck. Severe neck injury, broken neck, and a severe concussion to go along with it. So he was fucked.
Yeah.
Completely fucked. He's placed on the injured reserve list and not re-signed.
Right.
He broke his C1 vertebrae, which is normally very, very bad, and that's
right
the one that'll cripple you.
Yeah.
That's the one that'll cripple you and kill you, obviously. Right. Also, your breathing goes through there, I believe. Spinal, whatever. He was set to maybe be a starter. He was unconscious for 3 days.
Wow.
3 days he was unconscious. He said that when his doctors told him he was done with football right then.
Yeah.
So he was depressed. When he woke up, the first thing they said is, "You're not playing football anymore. You broke your neck."
Then is there coke around?
Well, he says, quote, "While I was in the hospital in Miami, I had a girl come over with crack. I'm in traction in the intensive care unit, and I smoked crack right there in the bed in the ICU."
My Christ.
That's a ballsy fucking move.
He's sitting there with a rubber band around his head, giving him traction for his
smoking crack.
He
probably has a girl lighting it for him at the same time.
His hands are probably strapped down.
That's what's really happening on the fluff piece end of the world here in the newspapers. Quote, "I'm feeling better.
Yeah.
I'm just mad I can't participate. I miss everybody out there so much. It's just kind of a kicker. I just kind of kick around the house and watch my soaps and keep up with the Dolphins. They're looking pretty good." Doesn't mention crack in there.
Watching my stories and doing crack.
That's all I'm doing, man. Hey, everybody, just going to take a quick break from the show to tell you about our sponsor, Simply Safe Security Systems.
Yeah, simplysafe.com.
Simply Safe, that's simply with an I,
correct,
not a Y, SIMPLI, safe.com. This company in the last few years has transformed into the fastest growing home security company in the nation, protecting over 2 million people. And something very exciting, they've just released their brand new security system, the all new Simply Safe. It's completely rebuilt in design. They've added new safeguards to protect against power outages, downed Wi-Fi, cut landlines, bats, hammers, and everything in between. The all-new Simply Safe was redesigned to be practically invisible with sensors so small you can even blanket your home in protection and never notice. You know who will? Intruders. That's right. Who. This is what's truly remarkable. Simply Safe spent years building this system. They've added so much, seriously, but you still get the same fair and honest price. 24-hour protection for only $15 a month and no contract. You can't beat that. It's smaller, faster, and stronger than anything they've ever built before, but supply is very limited. Visit simplysafe.com/sportscrime now to order. simplysafe.com/sportscrime.
Simply Safe, SIMPLI, safe.com/sportscrime. And now back to the show.
Going to take a quick break from the show to tell you a little bit more about TrueCar.
TrueCar.com.
What is MSRP?
It's confusing. That's what it is.
It's exactly what it is. If you're looking to buy a car, you're probably familiar with terms like MSRP. You might even know what it stands for, but what does it actually mean? Same goes for invoice, list price, dealer price. It's enough to confuse anybody. All you really want, all you really need is a price that actually means something to you, the buyer. Introducing True Price from TrueCar. Now you can know exactly what you'll pay for the car you want, including fees and accessories, before you even get to the dealership. TrueCar dealers will show you the true price on cars like the one you want, all from the comfort of home. And how do you know if your true price is a great price? Because TrueCar shows you what all the other people paid for the same car you want. And your certified dealers know this, and so they set their true price competitively so they can win your business. So when you're ready to buy a new or used car, great site for used cars. Once you register, you'll see real pricing on actual inventory. This is competitive pricing offered to you only by a TrueCar certified dealer for an actual vehicle on their actual lot. It's pricing you'll see before going to a dealership so you can feel confident when you show up. TrueCar customers are more likely to enjoy a faster buying process when they connect with TrueCar certified dealers, while they save an average of over $3,000 off MSRP.
What a deal.
So let me tell you this from us. When you're ready to buy, visit TrueCar to enjoy a more confident car buying experience. Some features not available in all states.
Yes, that's true. But go to TrueCar.com to find out. And now back to the show.
He was all going to hang out with the Dolphins a little bit too there, and he said he was just trying to keep low and keep to himself. He says later on, he says, though, he was done once he got done with Dallas. He said his spirit was shot. In the end, he said he just stopped by those teams to pick up a check. He really didn't want to play anymore. December 29th, 1981. This is ridiculous. He is pulled over. He is arrested in Dallas, outside of Dallas, in a suburb of Richardson. He's arrested for having a whole bunch of tickets. He gets pulled over. They do a routine computer check. He had 6 outstanding traffic citations. So he's taken to city jail. Where this is fucking ridiculous. Here, he calls 2 women to come post a $500 bond for him for the warrants. Okay. They get there. One of the women steals a typewriter from a police station desk and walks out with it while he's leaving. Puts it in the trunk of her car, the car that Thomas was driving. Dallas, they were notified, the police. Hey, so that lady stole the typewriter off the front desk there.
There was somebody making a police report, and she walked away with his machine.
Said, write a report. We can't. They stole a typewriter. Shit, get that back. Then write a report. So the police pull them over. It's Patricia Smith of Richardson is the woman. It's found in her trunk. It's actually Thomas's car, but she's in the car. Found there. They take everybody back to the police station. They book them in jail in connection with the theft. And they're each released on $1,500 bond.
Jesus.
Thomas says, quote, I didn't do anything. That's why I'm mad. And he declined further comment. He was pissed. He's booked into jail along with her. So ridiculous here. Now, fuck, man. How stupid is that?
How dumb.
How dumb is that? They find it on him. He's like, what do you mean typewriter? I don't know what you're talking about. Apparently, a witness had seen him move the typewriter from the back seat to the trunk, too.
Okay.
It was an IBM electric typewriter valued at $1,200.
Wow.
So back then, they were expensive. Now, February 2nd, 1982, a Dallas County grand jury declines to indict Thomas Henderson on a felony charge of stealing a $1,200 typewriter from the police department. He was accused of it, but they didn't. They do indict, however, Patricia Smith on the grand theft charge.
They got the right one.
They got the right one. I don't think
That's crazy. That's what a MacBook costs today.
Totally.
That's so nuts.
It's a MacBook Air, absolutely.
And it's got so much more technology.
I would say it's not just typing.
Right.
You know, he walked out and was like, "Bitch, what you take that typewriter for, motherfucker? What
you doing?
Fuck are you doing? Get me crack. What the fuck is wrong with you, man?
That thing will get us a lot of crack." That's what she said.
Now he still played for the Cowboys. While he still played for the Cowboys, they were talking about. He's had a lot of shit fall by the wayside, basically. He was supposed to be in a movie about returning Vietnam veterans with a bunch of his teammates, and that fell through. He had at one point signed a deal to write his memoir, to write his life story, and the publisher even advanced him money, and then they ended up canceling that. So he wasn't making very much money at this point. Now he at this point, though, when the money started coming in for this sort of thing, before it all fell apart, he started feeling good again and started doing shitloads more coke. He's like, I feel good about this here. And then he found out everything fell apart, and he's still doing coke. So then he ends up working as a construction foreman for a little while. This is because in a period here in late October '83, he spent $15,000 in 3 weeks on cocaine. He spent.
I can't afford that.
No, definitely not. He got $7,500 from pawning an NFC Championship ring. $5,600 from a final check he got for the Dolphins, and he had some other money. He spent $15,000 in 3 weeks.
My God!
Which leads us to November 2nd, 1983.
Yes.
This is Ocean Boulevard in Long Beach. It's right by his house because he had moved to California at this point. He is in a hotel room, and police come in and charge him with sexually attacking a 15-year-old paraplegic.
Oh, what an asshole!
And a 17-year-old girl in his hotel room, holding them at gunpoint and forcing sexual favors.
What an asshole!
And making them smoke crack. That's what they say. Now, the younger girl tells police that he pulled out a handgun and forced her to have sex with him while he assaulted, before he then assaulted both girls and threatened to kill them.
Jesus Christ!
Police found a .38 caliber handgun in his apartment, along with empty bags of coke and crack pipes and everything else he could find. He says he was solicited by the two girls, and then they robbed him. So that's much better. You were only paying a 16-year-old quadriplegic for sex. I'm sorry, because it was quadriplegic, not paraplegic. So you were only paying a 15-year-old paraplegic for sex. I'm sorry, you weren't assaulting her and robbing her and holding her at gunpoint and making her do it. Well, that's much better. We're sorry, sir. Here, will you Jesus, well, somebody get him a drink and give him a ride home. This poor guy's been through a lot today.
Somebody apologize to him.
Holy shit, he's been through a lot. shot. Get him a crack pipe. Go in evidence and get him something. This guy.
He needs something.
He said, quote, then he says later on, he says, quote, I received a sexual favor from one for letting them smoke crack with me. Sex for crack. That's the way it was.
Jesus.
That's his defense. His defense is I paid a 15-year-old quadriplegic for sex with crack. What the fuck's the problem? I don't see the issue here. I'm sorry. Am I missing something?
I can't imagine.
What's the problem?
Thinking that that's okay.
What the fuck, man?
I can't imagine thinking.
That's fine.
That's the story
that's
that you
totally
want to go
fine.
with.
That's his story. He's like, what the fuck, man? That's the way it works.
That's what I'm sticking to, and it's perfectly fine.
What the hell? He's charged with 2 counts of false imprisonment, 2 counts involving sexual assault, and 1 count of furnishing cocaine to minors.
Yeah.
They're all felonies, and they all include that he had a gun, too. That's an aggravator in all these.
That changes everything dramatically.
Totally. He pleads innocent, saying that they had solicited him on the street and then tried to rob him.
Yeah.
This is a total Lawrence Taylor.
It really is.
And it's funny because Lawrence Taylor wears number 56 because he idolized Hollywood Henderson.
Okay.
So he idolized him to the point of having underage women and cocaine in hotel rooms and paying them for sex. Fucking crazy.
What an emulation. That's nuts.
Man, he's released on $16,000 bond.
Yeah.
They set a preliminary hearing for all this to see if there's sufficient evidence. He's going to be held over for arraignment, whole deal. At this point, he has to give up his Super Bowl ring.
Oh, no.
Yes. He says, quote, I had to put it up for bail.
Oh, boy.
I had to give them something so they didn't think I was going to run off to Canada. And then the IRS seized it and put it up for auction.
Ouch.
So he lost his ring. They determined he owed $156,881 in back taxes. He disagrees with that, obviously.
Of course.
They ended up working out a number in the end. The ring was sold for $11,000 in 1984 to a guy named Robert Briscoe, who's a big Cowboys fan, he ends up agreeing, saying he'll give it back to Thomas later, but then he dies. And it goes into another thing. So the ring is out there, it's floating, and we'll find out about it. November 19th, 83, he pleads not guilty. He spends 3 days in rehab to detox from drugs, and then checks himself into a hospital.
Thank God.
So he's checked himself into a hospital now. Holy shit. This is good, probably. He needs I don't know what's the wake-up call, losing your job over and over again, and then finally they're saying...
For sure paying a quad for sex in coke.
You raped a teenage quadriplegic, and, that's got to be a fucking low point, right? I mean, Christ, how could he feel sitting in that? He has nothing. Think about that. He's got nothing.
Sold it all or snorted it all.
Sitting in a rehab, just waiting for them to come bring him medication to help him detox. And then
it's depressing.
One nurse comes, and then there's a knock at the door, and he opens it, and it's not a nurse. It's Dexter Manley, interior decorator from New York City. And he says... How is it you've come to arrive here? What are you, seriously, what are you, first of all, that beard, I know you think it's like fine and you're going to get, it's trashy, okay? It's trashy. He's smoking crack? Crack it's not classy is what I'm saying. Hollywood, I get the name, I get what you're trying to do with the fur coats and all, and you're smoking crack, and we do all that. No, it's not. You, sir, I'm sorry, I have to say it, you're white trash. I'm sorry. You're white trash. I don't care how black you are. You, sir, are the whitest trash I have ever seen. Paraplegic for, really?
Right.
A quadriplegic for crack?
That's crazy.
That's terrible. I'm sorry, I have to, because you're just poof. And a poof of glitter and purple fur. He's gone. Sheet of print. He's out of there. So Thomas is very confused. He thinks it's got to be the detoxing.
Yeah.
He's like, wow, I must have smoked a lot of crack.
I've done so much crack in
Holy
this life.
Who the fuck is that guy? My God, what a nutcase. So November 8th, 1983, he checks himself into the care unit in Orange, California.
Yeah.
He says, quote, my attorney dropped me off, and by then cocaine had taken me to such a back alley street, it took me from the penthouse to the crack house.
Oh, my God.
So that's his line there.
Jesus Christ.
Oh, yeah, boy. Now, November 22nd, there's an article about him of 83 saying that he lived off his money he was paid by the Dolphins.
Yeah.
He said, quote, he had, quote, a little money I had in my cookie jar. He said he was a construction supervisor, but he said, quote, I haven't really worked. I've been given certain positions because of my handicap and the severity of my injury, but only menial jobs with enough compensation to barely live on.
Yeah.
So he's saying that there. April of 1984, he is charged again.
Oh boy,
he is now charged with. Wasn't bad enough that you tried to do all this with quadriplegic girls, but he now offered them $10,000 as a bribe for them to recant their stories.
Oh my God! You can't do that.
Terrible, and he's charged with offering to bribe a witness. You can't do that. Right. That's terrible. So he ended up having to plead. He pleads no contest to these charges because they kind of set him up on it. And he was on recording going $10,000, and my dick never touched it. That's not okay. So they're pissed off about that, obviously. So he's got a preliminary hearing on that. He offered them $10,000, not even each together. $10,000.
$5,000 apiece.
$5,000 apiece to testify that he never molested them.
That's
what it was, quote there. So, June 11th, 1984 is sentencing. He had pleaded no contest and entered a treatment center there. He was in there for 7 months.
Yeah.
And he ends up here. The judge had revoked his $16,000 bail. And it's time for sentencing. And he says, "You, sir, may fuck off. 4 years and 8 months in prison."
That's light.
With you, I think that's light also.
So light.
I thought the same thing. He could have gone to prison for as long as 18 years.
Yeah.
And he gets that.
All right. He's got to be happy.
The quadriplegic said, quote, "I came here to see him go to jail. No matter what he gets, it isn't enough." So, they're not happy, these girls
Her life
at
is
all.
bad enough.
Yeah, no, I would say.
Crazy.
Shit. The district attorney said he wasn't satisfied. Yeah. He said, quote, "I felt he should have done 6 years and 8 months." Fair enough.
I feel like you should do 18.
Prosecutors, their whole case. No shit. What's wrong with that?
That's so crazy.
It's fucking ridiculous.
Why is that not a suitable sentence for that kind of thing?
It seems like if you sexually assault a teenage quadriplegic, that's a problem. Yeah. I feel like we need to make an example out of you at that point, especially when there's crack involved.
Right.
So prosecutors, their whole thing was that he lured the two girls there and forced them at gunpoint to disrobe and made them give him oral pleasure.
Yeah, sure.
And he did the same with them.
Jesus.
And then he gave them crack. That was what they said here.
He went down on a fucking 15-year-old
quadriplegic. Don't forget that. Did he take her out of the chair first? That's my question.
So much. That is so much.
Yeah,
That's
shit.
So heavy.
Shit. So 7 months after being sober, he's
forcibly went down. Unbelievable.
It gets worse and worse, right?
Good God.
So he's about to go to jail. By the way, he calls jail the best 26 months of his life, he said.
26
he
months?
Up doing 26 months total.
Wow.
That's it. 26 months. Not two. It's like half. That's half the sentence. That's half his sentence. He talked about how it took a moment the night before he was going to jail. He said he was coming back from an AA convention in a $200 car that I was making payments on. The guy I was with, think about that. How much are the payments?
How broke are you?
I got 40 cents. All right, I'll take that this month. How long is that?
A $200 car that you're making payments on.
Man. So he said the guy I was with in the car wanted to get high. Yeah. I was 7 months sober, about to go to jail the next day, and I had a decision to make. And he says he stayed sober there.
Yeah.
He said he stayed sober the whole time he's in prison, 28 months. He said he connected with 12-step programs. He, quote, fellowshipped with people who wanted to hear me. Gross. He starts getting super preachy and religious, so now he's found Jesus and he's telling others about it, which is a bad sign, usually in our cases here. He says he was clean and sober, and he was counting his days when he was going in. But he had both his first and second anniversary and got out right before the third anniversary, and he was clean and sober. He said it reminded me of where he come from. He said he's a tough guy. He got in a couple fights in prison. You have to stand up for yourself or you get run over. He said, I stood up for myself. He said, but otherwise it was crazy. He said he saw a guy get stabbed 14 times in front of him.
Holy shit.
He said that 28 months was better than the previous 28 months when he was in crack houses and alleys and cheap hotels with hookers, as he put it. So, yeah. He talks about a guy getting stabbed 14 times in front of him. Obviously, that's a traumatic experience. And October 15th, 1986, he's released from prison.
Okay.
Released from prison. He says when he gets out, quote, I wish I would have never taken that first drink or smoked that first joint.
Or raped that first quad.
I wish I would have never raped that first quadriplegic. Boy, that was really my downfall. The coke was one thing, but when I sexually assaulted handicapped teenagers, that's where it comes together.
If he'd never hit rock bottom yet, the second that he put his penis into a 15-year-old quadriplegic.
Or his mouth on them.
Yeah.
Either or.
How does he not go, I am a real fucking mess right now?
feel like I've crossed a line at this point. This girl's not here voluntarily, and either way, she's 15,
I'm
so it really
holding
doesn't
a
matter.
gun on her.
Oh, yeah, I have a gun in my hand.
While I'm buried in her face.
That's not great.
What the fuck?
Yeah, gunpoint blowjobs, bad sign. You've done bad at that point. If you're holding a gun.
Fucking a quad.
Not good.
What the?
Jesus Christ.
With a gun to her temple.
Fuck me.
My Christ.
Can you imagine that?
No.
And he's like, he said his thing was, they wanted crack. What's the big deal?
It's had
crack
to
for
earn
sex. Sex for crack. What the fuck?
That's what it is.
What part of sex for crack don't you understand? Your Honor. Excuse me, Your Honor.
Fucking a quad.
I don't understand. I'm not going to try to be a dick here, but I wanted sex. She wanted crack. We made it happen. I don't understand what the deal is. Wow. Jesus Christ.
I can't get through it.
It's amazing, man. He says when he got out of jail, he tracked down the fan with his ring. He said the fan promised to give the ring back one day, and then he was killed in a car wreck weeks after that.
Yeah.
The fan's family demanded money from Henderson.
Well, yeah.
And he said he, quote, refused to buy something he felt he had earned by playing his guts out on the field. Fair enough, but they paid $11,000 for it, so you're going to have to at least pay that.
They paid money for what you earned,
Sorry.
sir.
So from this time on, he's all about doing speeches.
Yeah.
Speeches about rehab, about turning your life around.
Face fucking a
quad. He gives there's one speech he does in Philadelphia where it's the detail of exactly how you can face fuck a quad properly is impressive. He does a demonstration.
Right there on the steps where Rocky ran.
He does a demonstration. It's very, very impressive, I'd say. It's very good. All the charities picked up on that, and they started hiring him. They were like, this guy, he's something.
What the fuck,
But he
man?
does tons of these speeches. From 86 to 2000, he says, I put almost 2 million miles on American Airlines, and they probably lost his fucking luggage more times than he can goddamn count if he flew that much with American shitbag piece of cunt fuck airlines. Fuck you, American. Sorry about that. He said, I've spoken at the Air Force Academy, at major universities, at lots of prisons. April 25th, 87, Larry Bethea shoots himself.
Okay.
And Thomas comes out and he's like, I smoked so much crack with that guy. Holy shit. Wow, that guy, he's so much crack.
We tag teamed a quad.
Oh, man. Shh. Don't tell nobody. So, 87, he releases his book.
Yeah.
It is called, quote, Out of Control, Confessions of an NFL.
Goddamn right.
Yeah, bet your ass. Confessions of an NFL casualty.
Okay.
Out of Control, Confessions of fucking quads in the face. My God. Jesus Christ, man.
I can't imagine.
Oh, fuck.
That's nuts.
He says about the book, it was painful labor. It wasn't very easy to bare my soul to the entire country and to try to not clean it up along the way. He tries to be honest, and it is very honest. He talks about, this is just a book of, then I did coke with him, then I fucked her, then I did smoke crack with him. That's the whole book. It's a great read. It's a fun read.
He went from consensual sex with a pointer sister to fucking face fucking a quad
forcefully
against her
will. Forcefully, like gunpoint, mind you.
Gunpoint,
not just against her will. Imminent death, threatening. Not just I'll punch you.
If you drag your teeth, you're dead.
Yeah. If I get a little touchy, I'm gonna blow your fucking brains out with my dick inside of you.
That
Terrible.
is so nuts.
So he says the book is all about being savagely cruel to himself and also others. He said, quote, no one can read my book and come away saying this self-serving jerk. They're going to come away saying this man is brutal to himself. I truly believe that. Then he says, not just to himself.
No, not just to himself.
He says, quote, what I set out to do was name about 15 or 20 of the biggest stars in the United States and say, hey, I snorted coke with that guy, and this is where we did it, and this is what we were doing when we did it.
God, he's a hatchet man.
So now he's going to come in and just blow up everybody's spot because he says, I think it's good for them if everyone knows. It's like, maybe they've cleaned up their act, and the world doesn't need to know their problems now.
Maybe they're good people and haven't raped any fucking 15-year-olds.
Maybe they know how to keep their shit together.
Right.
That's the problem.
There's a difference. Like, I don't care if you do drugs.
No.
If you do it by yourself and you're having a great
Knock
time,
yourself out.
keeping your life together, fine. When you're affecting other people and forcefully face fucking quadriplegic 15-year-olds.
He hit his mom. He slapped his mother.
Yes.
He left fucking teams in the lurch. He left all these people. How many girlfriends, wives. He has kids that are left behind. Teams. 15-year-old paraplegics in fucking hotel rooms. I feel bad for all these people, Jimmy, but not nearly as bad as I feel for Thomas Henderson, a sales and logistics professional in the greater Atlanta area. Specializes in logistics and supply chain. Thomas Henderson, president and CEO at Accord Financial Corp. in Greenville, South Carolina.
All right.
Important fella here. I hope he doesn't people don't think he's face fucking quadriplegics.
That's so crazy.
And finally, Thomas Henderson, who is a student athlete at Marist College. So if you look up athletes, anything like that, he is the whitest, dorkiest looking kid you'll ever see in your life. He's the anti-Thomas Henderson.
Keep it together, sir.
Keep it together. Yes, he's also an office clerk at Tough Law and Lawn Service.
Of course he is.
So he's doing very well. Recovery speeches he's making like crazy. His shrink says, quote, he is a psychiatrist, quote, he is known as a guy, not only a guy who no longer drinks or uses, he's known as the most spectacularly recovering football player. Who else can tell it like he can? In a weird way, his ego helps him by having gone public, which is true. He's got this ego, so if he says, hey, I'm sober and it's public and all that, he feels like he's got to live up to this shit. He says, though, 12-step programs aren't for everybody. He says they're for people who want them. We shouldn't shove our elbow down someone's throat with sobriety. He says he's been lucky to work with a lot of people. I don't try to tell anybody what to do or impose my current behavior on them. I just say I don't drink, I don't do drugs, I don't care what other people are doing. Fair enough.
That's a weird way of saying that.
I would say he says everything like that.
Shove shit down people's throat, elbow first.
Elbow them down his throat. Here you go. Yeah, it's doing it wrong. Again, you're doing it wrong.
Right.
Jesus
Christ.
You
do everything wrong,
You do
sir.
everything wrong. Everything from sexual assault to everything.
Everything's done wrong.
He makes speeches and videos. He makes institutional videos offered to rehab facilities, including one called Yes, I'm Still Clean, which consists of him kind of hanging out with a 3-wood on his arm on his shoulder, talking some shit. Early 1990s, he and his second wife divorce. He moves back home, again breaking another rule, moves back to Austin. But he does this. He's making good money from all these speeches. He purchases a house in his shit neighborhood he's from for $38,000. Has it renovated, buys the adjoining lots, and builds a pool and a guest house. Builds a big fence around it with bars, with of course a TH on the ironwork because the hubris of this fucking guy is ridiculous. He said that his neighborhood was calling to him and that he can't extract his past from his present. And he says that he wants to give back to his neighborhood. This place is still mine, he says. I know it like the back of my hand. 1993, he's at a dinner in Dallas with his girlfriend. Okay, they're sitting there eating dinner. She pulls out a jewelry box and says she has a surprise. He opens it, and it's his Super Bowl ring.
Wow.
Which is fucking amazing. He says, quote, it was 1992 or 1993. This girlfriend had paid $11,000 to buy the ring back and tells me when she gave it to me, you deserve this. I just lost it. I bawled like a baby.
Well, sure.
So he got it back, and it was somebody bought the ring from that family and literally just sold it to them at cost.
That's great.
He was a Cowboy fan, and he felt bad, and he wanted Thomas to have his ring, so he just said, give me what I paid for it. Which is nice. It was $11,000. It didn't go up in 10 years of auctions and purchases.
Fantastic.
So good for him. So 1997, he writes an open letter to the readers of the Dallas Morning News, basically saying that, he's sorry. It's a mea culpa on everything. I smoked a lot of crack and I did a lot of shit and I was a dick and I lied to people and I was terrible, but I'm better now and everything's fine. It's a pretty ballsy move, honestly. But some of the things he said are kind of funny here. He says that he insists in this article that even in the midst of his darkest moments, he subsisted by a certain code of honor that he even endeavored to pay his drug dealers on time because he had grown up believing in making good on one's debts. And he also reiterates that although he most certainly did not have sexual relations with a woman in a wheelchair in exchange for providing her with crack cocaine, not that women in wheelchairs don't smoke crack cocaine, he says.
He said that.
He did say that. Not that they don't. I'm not trying to offend nobody. But he said he did engage in some things that in retrospect were, quote, not especially savory. Like mouth-fucking a 15-year-old quadriplegic for crack.
He says he didn't have sexual relationship with her, yet he was convicted of the shit.
He was convicted of it, and they were in court going, he put his dick in my mouth against my will.
With a gun.
At gunpoint, and crack tastes weird. Those are not things that you want a 15-year-old girl in a wheelchair saying in court. Those are all bad. Those are all bad. All bad.
Unbelievable.
He said that he's trying to, he feels good to admit it, to let it all go. And so he said there's a certain amount of ego to to that also, but it's okay. 1999, John Daly, the golfer, the big fat smoking crazy
guy's
golfer.
Amazing.
We'll do him someday.
I
Don't
love
worry.
him
We'll
so
definitely
much.
do John Daly someday. He's coming.
He's a hero.
He's like a live show kind of a guy,
He does
too.
not give a fuck about anything.
You want to see pictures of him. He's a live show kind of a guy.
He's a monster.
John Daly's apparently about to commit suicide.
Really?
Henderson says, quote, I'm in my bed and my phone rings. It's John Daly. I hear the gunning of an engine. He said, I'm on a mountaintop. I said, John, what are you talking about? He said, there will be no more John Daly tomorrow. Thomas says, I started to cry. I said, you can't do this. The world ain't done with John Daly. I said, John, I never asked you to do anything, but will you do me a favor? I said, go home. Please just go home. So he went home. And Daly later on, in an article in the New York Post, says that he was 2 feet away from cutting his car off the mountaintop.
Wow. And
so this has actually
he
happened.
saved his life.
He saved John Daly's life, which is odd.
Thanks, Hollywood.
Thanks, Hollywood. November 1999, he raises $300,000.
Really?
He does a fasting for 7 days to raise money, and raises $300,000 to build a football stadium and track in his hometown.
Really?
A better football field and a better track, so these kids have somewhere to play in his hometown.
Heroic.
Not bad at all, right? Doing well at
How
this
did
point.
he turn this page?
What the fuck, right?
Where's this guy?
Where was he 20 years ago?
Where's he been?
Where you been, Thomas? Come on, Hollywood. March 2000.
Yeah.
Thomas plays the lottery all the time. He buys $100 worth of quick pick lottery tickets at a pharmacy near his home. He goes out golfing, goes to the golf course, and he gets a call on the way home from the golf course from his ex-wife telling him it was on the news that someone at the pharmacy got the winning lottery ticket. So he says he got in the truck, he checked his ticket, and found out he had the winner.
Jesus Christ.
He had the winner.
No.
His winning numbers were 5, 8, 17, 35, 38, 41. Quote, I'm the winner. I'm the only ticket holder here in Texas. It's a blessing.
No, it's
a blessing.
He's won the lottery way too many times.
No shit. Just for being here still. For not being in prison, you win the fucking lottery. What did he win here, though?
How much?
$28 million.
Oh, my God. Way more money than he made playing football.
Fucking way more. Whole teams weren't worth $28 million when he played.
Good Christ.
He takes the lump sum, and after taxes and everything, he gets a check for a cool $10 million.
That's a guy that's dumb. That's what that is.
Shit, I'd take the $10 million.
Would you?
Any
I'd take
financial
the 28.
person tells you take the lump sum because then you can invest it how you want rather than having it be told to you. Plus, you might not live that long, and then what happens? So any financial guy says take the lump sum and then you work your own money, basically. But whatever. So they asked him how he's going to spend his money, and he said it looks like his ex-wife will get some. He said, quote, she's looking to retire. You know how ex-wives are. That was my NFL wife. So
she deserves it.
I would say so after that. They said, what did you do after you won? He said he learned he hit the lottery, and he went to 7-Eleven and got a sausage and egg biscuit, a few powdered donuts, a pint of milk, and went home and went to bed.
Vile.
That was his thing.
What a disgusting celebration.
Even I would have bought a ton of cocaine, and I hate cocaine. I would have bought pounds of it, mountains of cocaine.
I probably would have called a certain 15-year-old girl and chipped her off a few bucks.
I think that would probably be the best thing to do.
Hey, I'm really sorry about the way we met.
Here's maybe a new wheelchair for you. Shit. He said his first big purchase was a 4-year-old Mercedes-Benz. He said, quote, I bought a used car, but that's what's really funny is I was doing well even before winning the lottery. I was doing really, really well with my films and lectures. I was already blessed. He claims that he was already a millionaire before that.
Really?
He says the Dallas Morning News asked him what's he going to do? What does he do now that he won the lottery? What does his day consist of? And he said, quote, not a damn thing, and I don't start that until after lunch.
How about that?
That's a good... That sounds great.
Not a damn thing, and I don't start that after lunch because that's when I wake up.
That's when I wake the fuck up. Now, he also admits that there's some tuggings at him. He said, quote, man, this physical strain came over me. I felt the weight of the world was on me that night. I felt the fear. Can I handle it? Could I stay sober? Because it was a great moment for champagne. It would have been a great time for some cocaine. That's when you break the crack out at that point. He said, quote, I was already worth maybe $2 million when I won, so I splurged on my family. He bought new homes for his 2 ex-wives.
Wow.
He bought each.
That's very kind.
Hell of a relationship. His daughter, Tomasa, gave her a house and gave $10,000 each to 50 friends and relatives.
Wow.
He also went And he gave Roger Staubach, I guess he invested a business deal with Thomas, and he gave Thomas the money back that he had invested in there, plus 20% interest to clear that all. And also the guy who sold him the ticket at the pharmacy, he gave him $10,000.
That's nice.
Also, all of a sudden in the fall of this year, he surprises local officials by proposing to use $1 million to jumpstart a long-stalled city plan to build 74 moderately priced homes in East Austin.
Wow.
He's formed a nonprofit corporation. He said it would help about 24. He would develop about 24 lots and then use the sale proceeds to build additional houses for underprivileged people. So now he's going to city council meetings trying to build affordable housing for people.
This is ridiculous.
What the fuck? I hope none of them are in a wheelchair.
Yeah, no doubt.
Get ugly.
Where did this guy come from?
That's what I'm saying. 2002, inducted into the Langston University Athletic Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
He started a charity that year, Eastside Youth Services and Street Outreach, and made major donations in the East Austin community. 2004, he has a new book and video out.
Yeah.
It's a follow-up volume called In Control, a combination of his own personal 12-step manual and tying up the loose ends of his life.
Yeah.
Yes, all the profits for all these ventures now go to charity since he won the lottery. 2005, he moved down to Boca Raton, hanging out in Florida. He likes to golf every day.
Yeah.
You know what else he does? Still plays the lottery. Won another $50,000.
What?
He won the lottery again. Twice. Fucking twice.
I hope he gave that to the girl in the wheelchair.
Jesus Christ.
Good
what the fuck, man?
The luck that this man has.
By 2011, he's playing golf about 20 hours a week. March to 2011, he plays in a celebrity tournament. He's paired with Winky Wright, the boxer.
Yeah.
There's Michael Jordan has in there, Wayne Gretzky and somebody. Drew Brees has got it's ridiculous, man. Ridiculous. January 16th, 2016, he is honored by the NFL with a Golden Football Award given to his high school in honor of him, Frederick A. Douglass High School, for producing a Super Bowl champion player. On Facebook, I looked at the event. It had 21 people went and 28 people were interested. I don't know how big of a deal.
49 people gave a fuck.
Gave a flying fuck. So, May 2017, Thomas is concerned about Tiger Woods. Chill the fuck out.
Calm down, sir.
Calm down.
He's fine.
Yeah, he says he's all right. He'll do fine.
He doesn't need you.
He's got enough money. He's good. He said that the mugshot.
Tiger Woods didn't resort to quadriplegics yet.
Hooters waitresses, but not quadriplegics.
He's still getting porn stars.
That's right. He said that mugshot was like a flashback to an earlier era when he said he was routinely high and drunk. He said, quote, "When I saw the picture of Woods, I said, man, I know that gaze. I've looked at myself in the mirror with that gaze. I feel bad for him. I know he's got a tight circle of people around him, but I'd love to have a tough-ass conversation with him one-on-one. I'd love to lecture a billionaire, even though I've never met him before and he doesn't know me."
I'd love to watch that happen.
I would love that. That would be a great conversation.
You better put that shit on YouTube,
Tiger
sir.
Going, what's your name again?
Yeah, who the fuck
are
you?
Didn't you fuck up quadriplegic in the face? I don't think I'm going to listen to you. December 17th, 2017, he's inducted into the Black College Football Hall of Fame.
All right.
Good for him. And can't get enough of Thomas Hollywood Henderson. I certainly can. You can go on eBay and get an original 1979 7-Up, the soda 7-Up poster. It's a poster of him with like a signature on it, and it's, put out by 7-Up.
Sure.
It's an original $18.99 plus free shipping. Also, FMS Productions, you can get, quote, Prevention to Recovery, the Thomas Hollywood Henderson DVD, the best of Thomas Hollywood Henderson DVD. It is 53 minutes long of him speaking at a podium. This costs $249.
My God.
On sale from $349. On sale. Holy shit.
There's nothing in his life that's worth that to me.
Fuck no,
nothing.
Besides that lottery ticket, I don't think that Super Bowl ring. And also, thriftbooks.com, you can get a copy of Out of Control, Confessions of an NFL Casualty. It's only $3.79.
Beautiful.
And I have to order this fucking book because I read portions of it in different spots, and it's really entertaining, and I want to read the rest of it. It's great stuff. That is Thomas Hollywood.
Holy shit.
Henderson. What a goddamn mess. That's what I mean. I couldn't let that fall by the wayside and let only 300 people hear that. It's just not. We can't have that. The world needed to hear this story.
I can't
they really
believe
did.
Any of that.
It's crazy.
Nuts.
Dude, it's a crazy-ass story.
Straight, it's 100% bananas.
There's the whole thing.
There's no reason that whole story should be like that.
No, crack, quadriplegics, lottery winning. What the fuck is going on in this story? It feels fake, right?
It does.
That's a fake, stupid movie.
That feels as genuine as Forrest Gump.
Exactly.
It's so ridiculous.
That's exactly what it is.
It's so ridiculous.
He's Black Forrest Gump is what he is, but smart. It's very weird. If you like that story, please, as always, get on iTunes, give us 5 stars. It's so helpful on the business end, really. If you like us even more than that and you want to be a superstar, superhero, like our amazing producers that we're going to have a long list of here in a moment, you can do that by going to patreon.com/crimeinsports.
That's the one.
And you can make a donation or go to PayPal and make a one-time donation over there.
Yep.
That is also possible using our email address, crimeinsports@gmail.com.
Yep.
And you can get a hold of us, Instagram, Twitter, @crimeinsports, Facebook.com/crimeinsports.
Everything.
All over the place, Crime and Sports. Also go to shutupandgivememurder.com/live.
Right.
Get tickets to all of our live shows. Tons of them coming up.
It's going to be so fun.
Like you heard in the beginning, of all up and down the West Coast. Just added Nashville. Also Phoenix, March 25th. Come out and see us there. And
live shows are so fun, you guys.
They really are much fun.
are.
I'm telling you guys. Honestly, we were blown away by how well the show translates live. We didn't know, hey, maybe it'll be... Nope, it's 10 times better
Not
live.
even just our show.
So
when
great.
we did it with Dan in
it was
Detroit,
great. It was great.
Mixing his with us. It was fantastic.
Yeah, if you see Dan Cummins coming around doing that, go to him too.
Go see his shows.
He knows how to do this too. He knows how to do a live show. He's a performer. He's a comic. He's not going to disappoint you. It'll be boring. It's going to be really good stuff.
Shit, yeah.
So do that. And with all that said, Jimmy, why don't you hit us with the list of our favorite people in the world, the producers. Let's have it.
This week in Boston was fucking incredible, and I can't thank you guys enough.
Best, man.
Adam Sheehy came through with so many favors and so many incredible things for us. He really made just those shows fucking phenomenal.
He took pictures.
Yeah.
He helped us out with other things.
Yeah.
He went to the store because it was like the guy was the best, man.
He did everything we needed him to do.
A great
and
person.
More.
Thank you, Adam, so much.
Thanks for hanging with us, brother.
And his wife too was really cool. Thank you.
A friend.
That's his friend. Oh, that wasn't his wife.
She told me, not girlfriend, not wife, friend. That's my friend.
This lady brought. They were very nice people.
They came together. Yeah. They were opposite sex of each other, but they may just be platonic.
Hey, that's cool. And Adam's got a cool car.
He does.
She should fuck him because he's got a great car. It's nice.
And a cool job.
Whatever.
So I'm not going to give too many insights into that guy's life.
We have a lot of shout-outs.
He's fantastic.
He's great.
Thank you, Adam, for everything. Chrissy-Ann Castaldi, Maria Montague, Chandra Chandra Banton. She's in Texas. She's fucking... These three... Like, Maria Montague has been listening for a long time, and then she just got her tax return and just chipped us off this ridiculous... It was so sweet.
Thank you.
Thank you, three, for being the executive producers this week, as well as Sarah Gilbo. You guys do so much for us that we just can't do without you guys. So thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Lisa Williams, Michelle Jolly in Australia. Thank you, Michelle. Janet Holm, she donated twice this week, or it may have been once a week, and I just haven't done this in 2 weeks. So thank you,
we've
Janet.
been sorry about that.
Yeah, it's been a
we couldn't do it live.
Right, exactly.
If we did, you wouldn't have heard it anyway.
Right.
Thanks, Kyle. If you were at that show, you know what that means. God damn it, Kyle.
Janet Holm, that was it. Jessica Rothwell, Abby Coolhannock, Robert Wibble, Wibley, W-I-B-L-E. Wibble? Shit. I went with Wibble. I don't know. It might be Weibel.
Weibel?
I could see that.
It's better than Weibel.
Robert Weibel. Yeah. Garrett Eater, Cynthia Mackey, Chastity Altman, Jesse Hartman, Aaron Brown, Misty Keene, Caston Johnson. God damn it. I never remember. I think it's Caston. Yeah. Caston Johnson, Chelsea Hansen, Amanda Parker, Sarah Gilbo, of course. She donated 3 fucking times this week. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you, Sarah.
Elizabeth Britton, Ashley Curry, thank you very, very much. Elizabeth Britton, Ashley Curry, thank you so much. Michelle Coyne, the Color Chick, thank you very much. I don't know what the Color Chick is. I imagine she does hair somewhere. Google the Color Chick and take care of her. Susan Mannon, Jacqueline Howard, Dana Grayson, of course. He came through.
Hey,
it was great to fucking meet him.
Yeah, man, great to meet you in Boston.
Awesome. Thank
we got
you
to meet
so
a few of the Linda Frost that we got to meet. A bunch of our friends that
the Egan sisters.
Yeah,
she's terrific.
And
thank
Hannah
so
Camerson, thank you for driving so far to Detroit.
She drove from fucking
Amazing.
Oklahoma.
Thank you for coming to see us again.
Unbelievable. Thank you. Tasha McCoy, Seth Anderson, Tammy Curtis, Julie Skinner, thank you very much. Megan Rickson, Emily Irvin, Jillian Basarge. God damn it.
There you go.
Caitlin Kennedy, Tyler Scott, William Mellinson. I think that's the guy in Boston.
Yeah.
He's very confrontational on Facebook when you shit on his Patriots. But listen, I don't know.
What are you going to do?
What are you going to do? Maybe win the Super Bowl next year.
Yeah,
Ewa Tarowska, Brent Anktil, A-N-C-T-I-L. Anktil? I'll bet it's Anktil. A-N-C-T-I-L.
Anktil?
I think it's Anktil.
Yeah.
I don't know. Katrina, sorry, Brent. Katrina Anhofer, Michael Werman. Yeah, Michael Warren. Tiffany Robertson came to the Detroit show. She was the one that bought the tickets. That it was a mix-up between shows.
Oh, yeah,
and then we accommodated her, made sure she got in to see both shows.
Definitely.
And
Thanks for coming.
Then she wanted to donated money so we could buy drinks in Boston.
That was
thank you
cool. Thank you
so much, Tiffany. It was great to meet you. Kate Watson, Lori Murphy, Kathleen Thill continues to support and sent me so many birthday gifts.
So
thank
cool,
you,
yeah.
Kathleen, for everything. We'll see you March 25th at Stand Up Live.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And thank you, Heather Jean, too, for Detroit. She gave us cookies.
She brought us cookies. She brought hugs, a book, and then she sent fucking hats
and T-shirts.
And she's
so cool. Thank you.
That's right.
To Detroit, we really appreciate that.
Thank you. Autumn Allen, I think I said that. No, I didn't. Autumn Allen times 2. She donated twice this week.
Get her twice.
Peter Bleem. Shannon Feltus. That's weird. Feltus? I don't know.
Feltus?
That's brutal. It's legitimately spelled Feltus.
If you were in her 7th grade class, you'd never live that down.
That poor girl. I'm so sorry, Shannon, I would have been a dick to you. Grace Soto, Downward Dog Pet Services. Some hippie pet services? I don't
yoga
know.
pet service?
Yeah. Do they make your dog do yoga? Is that what it is?
My dog wouldn't do yoga.
No, my dog would shit on your leg. Monge in the UK, he donated again. Thanks, Monge. He's terrific. Amy Keys, Mariah Montague, of course, she donated on Patreon, and she donated over on PayPal. So thank you, Maria. Jesus. Kimberly Watson, Ashley Boxler, she donated twice. Crocheted my little heart out. I don't know what that is, but Google it and fucking take care of them. Lori Carter, James Cook constantly donates. I think he's in England.
Thank you so much.
That's where he is. Thank you, James.
We appreciate the hell out of that.
David Bonnell, Jean Mena, James Acelta, Stephen Mack, no, Mace. Damn it, I'm sorry, Stephen. You've donated before. I've seen your name before, and I just ruined it. I've never called you Mac. Stephen Mace. Tracy Toucher. Shit, I don't know if that's Toucher. Yeah, Toucher and Feltus. That's a good legal firm.
Yeah. It's like some kids. Yeah, Toucher, Feltus, and Feel Up. Yeah, we're going to have
That's hilarious. Marika Sand, Patricia Shar. Nobody's ever said that before, ever.
Yeah, no,
Patricia Shar, sorry. Amy Keller, she's donated before. Thank you, Amy. Paul Roost. It's Paul Roost. He's the one that makes all those memes on Facebook. He's fucking amazing at it.
Appreciate that.
Kyle Airy, Lindsay Sikora, Elizabeth Tebow, Ryan Grieve, Tara Jenkins, Deborah Burrell. Thank you so much, Deborah. That was a nice one.
Definitely, thank you.
Timothy Jenkins, Toby Arnott, Jake Labier. No.
The law firm of Labia Feltus. Come on. Jesus Christ. It's too much.
Is that for real? Labia? Oh, I think it is. Jake Labier. It may be Labier.
It's probably Labier. It's probably Labier. Let's go.
It could be Labier.
I think he's trying to make it sound like Labia as much as he can.
Chandra Banton, thank you. Shandell Healy, Sam Sullivan, Dulce Thompson, Raquel McDonald, Lisa Pashuros. I don't know. Cassie Schmedeke. Fuck her. Katie Schmedeke. Damn it. Joshua Cobb, Mitchell Bowler, Derek Hillenberg, Dawn O'Connor, Michelle Reinhold. I want that to be related to Judge so bad. Pierce Decory, Tanya R. Pinion. Yes. Pinion. Fuck. Travis Saunders, Brett Welch, Amanda Berry. Oh, is that the chick that was kidnapped in Ohio? Wasn't that Amanda Berry?
I'm not sure.
I don't know for sure.
Hopefully she's a fan of the show.
It appears so.
Good deal.
Daniel Ebersol, Eric Rao, Amanda Johnson, Katie Turo, Unity Bowling, Marissa, Christine. I don't know. Marissa didn't have a last name. Christine Peterson, Michael Bate, Mike Bate. Kyle Marler, Amy Hyler, Cody Spence, Orla Buckley, Laura Werner, Matthew Morris, Christine Gentine. Shit. That's a tough one. Gentin. That's Tine. That's Gentine, right?
Probably Gentine.
Right. Megan Walker, Brooke Fabian, who exchanged shirts with me in Boston, by the way, which is a hilarious story that I'm not going to tell right now. But thank you, Brooke. I really appreciate
That's cool.
And especially the story. That's fucking hysterical. Dusty Paddock, Brandon Miller, Sarah McCullough, Shanna Walter, Dan Rogers, Leslie Kidd, Tim Sprague, Lily Frank, Bobby Vint, Tyler Cameron, Lee Brown, Eric Eric Stribing.
Sound drunk saying that one.
Yeah, Eric Stribing. Seth Anderson, Gygax fan? I don't know what that is. What's a Gygax? Is that a band
Beats
or something?
The shit out of me.
Gygax fan. Or Gygax? I don't know. Chris Coles, Kerry Clark, Vince Nestico, Tim Amarin, Alicia with no last name, Adam Jones, Scott Sewell, Why Is Mom Weird? I don't know what that is, but
okay.
Google that shit.
That's cool.
Pot Stirrer Podcast. Thank you, guys. Alicia Sebastian Rhodes, Kelsey Hebert. She sent me a nice
awesome.
gift today, too. Thank you, Kelsey. Kelsey Brinkerhoff, Tina Peterson, Jacob Mayhew, Athena Hippias, Cammie Rock, Dakota Clever, Susan Jesus, I was cruising. DeGuia?
Almost, Jimmy.
Susan DeGuia? I don't know.
Thought we were getting through the rest of that list.
Alicia Ferris, Sarah Webb, Kathy Witcher. Yeah, that's Witcher, for sure. Amanda McAllister, Saisha Sandoz, and Andrea LeCount. Wow, that could have tripped me up, and I could have been a real asshole. Kim Kinney.
I could have been doing some editing on that.
Right. Brittany with no last name. Kelsey, Kelsey Murphy. Katie L. I don't know if the L is the last name. Melanie Wilmington. Joe Brown. Shelley Warners. Carrie Winters. Maria Montague, again. Laura Kopp, she's over on Snapchat. She's fantastic. Thank you so much, Laura. Travis Tim. Teresa Stiernagel.
That's
I think
pretty,
so.
That's simple.
Close enough. Sean Wickham, Kevin Lee Manus, yes. Chris Garver, Buck with no last name, Jordana McGuire, Ryan Glasheen, Cameron Santo, Michael Tella fucking what? No.
Michael Tella fucking what?
Michael Trecarica.
That's
it.
better.
Trecarica. He sent snail mail to us.
Oh, yeah, thank you.
With cash in it.
Yeah,
Thank
from
you,
Brooklyn.
Michael.
Thank you, man.
Zachary Brinkerhoff Cecilia. What?
You don't need the hyphen. Just pick a name.
No, just Brinkerhoff,
Yeah,
right?
that's
Because
enough.
I can do that one.
That's
that
plenty.
one's fucked up.
Or the other one, but not both.
Cecilia is brutal. That it fucks you over with the Brinkerhoff. How do you get Brinkerhoff and then hyphen Cecilia? Stop that.
Somebody liked it ethnic.
Right. I can appreciate that. Jenny Holcomb, Lindsay Hardy, Hunter Krutzinger, Melissa Milan, Landon Griffin, Elizabeth Kelly, Clarice Edgerton, and Amy LeBlanc, Nicholas Jacob, Melanie. Melanie Stewart Bouchard. That's it. No, it's not Bouchard. That is Bouchard. Jesus. Kat, with no last name. I think that's Kat in New York.
Yeah.
Lisa Schneer, Kev the Quantum Kevins, Monica Coy, Alina Farica, Liam Deely, Shauna Brazelton, Alana Bush, Shalana Surratt. Fucking that. How did I get all those together?
Man.
That's a lot of S's. Melissa Reichik, Angie King, Suck a Free Podcast, Danny Chestnut, Stacy Diriso. She sent me an apron. She's terrific. Thank you,
awesome.
Stacy. Susan Olgis is over in I think Ohio. I think that's where it is.
Yes. Yeah.
It's the fucking Midwest somewhere.
Yeah, God
she's a
damn it.
paramedic. She's
Sorry.
terrific.
She's awesome, though.
Thank you, Susan. Ward Palmer, Robert Williams, Angela Bruno. Yes. Casa de Salinas, Susan Summerall. Susan Summerall, GG Creations, Frankie Westhoff, Michael Malitz, Bethany Moran, Amber Mackey, Trent Becker, Cassie Craven, Heather Smith, Daniel Van Sloun, Nathan Nolte, and Mama Al Davis. Thank you all.
Thank you.
So fucking much for making that last week, these last 2 weeks, stellar, incredible. I can't tell you guys how fun it is to meet you.
Honestly.
Especially after you guys support us like you do.
That was the best part of it.
Fucking nobody else does.
That was the best part of it. Yeah. Awesome. Thank you.
Amazing.
Thank you so much. And again, we reiterate, I can't even get that out anymore. Thank you to everybody who came out to the live shows.
Unbelievable.
We enjoyed meeting every last one of you, and we would have stayed for as long as it took.
Yeah.
We just loved hanging out with you guys.
Shit, yeah.
Thank you guys so much. And Jimmie, what if a guy like you, in addition to meeting you, wanted to maybe get a hold of you somehow? How would they do that?
You can find me at Whisman Sucks, WHISMAN Sucks on Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat. Thank you guys for being a part of this and having drinks with us in Boston, having drinks with us in Detroit.
Loved it.
It's so great. I really appreciate how dedicated to this you guys are and being a part of it. We love it.
Thank you for all of my special treats as well. I really appreciate that. That was very wonderful.
There was lots.
You guys were great. Yeah, it was fantastic. You can get a hold of me at Jimmie P is funny, or just try to copy him. Just copy and paste my last name from the show description. Don't be a hero. Easier. There's an I in there, and it's very complicated. That said, guys, holy shit, wild week. We'll be back next week. We will not leave you again. That was not on purpose. We had an episode recorded. I even edited it. People were like, oh, that's fine. Kick the week off. I'm like, no, you don't understand. I did twice as much work because I flew to Boston, fucking recorded it, came home, edited it, and then worked on the sound for like 4 hours before I finally decided it's too shitty to use. So it was actually much more work to not put an episode out last week. So
sorry.
There you go.
Everyone
enjoy your rest. No. Fuck you. I'm not resting. I'm never resting. We're doing this show. We will continue to do this show live from the Crime and Sports Studios. We will see you next week.
Bye.
If you like crime and sports, you can listen early and ad-free now by joining Wondery Plus in the Wondery app or on Apple Podcasts. Prime members can listen early and ad-free on Amazon Music. Before you go, tell us about yourself by filling out a short survey at Wondery.com/survey.
He was hip-hop's biggest mogul, the man who redefined fame, fortune, and the music industry.
The first male rapper to be honored on the Hollywood Walk of Fame, Sean Diddy Combs.
Diddy built an empire and lived a life most people only dream about.
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up.
But just as quickly as his empire rose, it came crashing down.
Today I'm announcing the unsealing of a 3-count indictment, charging Sean Combs with racketeering conspiracy, sex trafficking, interstate transportation for prostitution.
I was up. I hit rock bottom, but I make no excuses. I'm disgusted. I'm so sorry.
Until you're wearing an orange jumpsuit, it's not real. Now it's real.
From his meteoric rise to his shocking fall from grace, from law and crime, this is the rise and fall of Diddy. Listen to the rise and fall of Diddy exclusively with Wondery Plus